It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel credit, stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Is that Shakespeare?
Nope, it's Geico.
Yeah, that's Shakespeare from one of his unpublished works. Oh, it be not for awakening. Nay, giveth thou the berries. For 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
No, it's from Geico, because they help save people money.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but Geico got it from Shakespeare.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit and talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. So they do right by Cap, they all cap.
This year, what, third or fourth year now not watching any football?
Fourth. An entire high school or college cycle. My senior year of doing this. I'll be going into postgraduate next year.
He's stupid. Well, this will be recording at 5 o'clock on Super Bowl Sunday. This will be my third football game all of this year. So I ain't too far removed from you at this point. So I guess big things happened on Wednesday. They were having a pretty pedestrian show, and then they had a main event that was excellent. And then all of a sudden, KENTA shows up on AEW television, lays out the IWGP US champion, Jon Moxley, and everybody has lost their collective shits over what potentially could be. People have already started the fantasy booking. They have cranked up the gate, or they have opened the gate. So where do you want to start with this, Rich?
Yeah, man, I guess we can just start at the beginning. So, like, when I watch wrestling, like, at home, I try to, keep it rather reserved, because my wife's here, and, I don't want to be, like, yelling at the screen and, stuff like that. How I would normally act if, we were all in a group watching, I would, crank up or, be like, hell yeah, or something like that. Like, I audibly was like, oh shit, like when KENTA came out, because it represents a lot. We had always heard, when AEW in New Japan, or excuse me, when AEW was first getting started, they had pushed for New Japan to, work with them. And I think a lot of fans were very excited about the possibility of that. And I would probably say that would have been like something like, because at first, it's a new promotion, you don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm like, oh, okay, if they have New Japan and shit, that would be like, oh, okay, hell yeah, that would like be sustainable. But then, like, much to our surprise, in my case especially, I felt like AEW like did more than a solid enough job, existing on their own and showing their style of promotion they're gonna do, their talent development, their scouting, like as far as their young people, like they have, like, it seems like there's an ecosystem of top people, main eventers, future main eventers, mid cards, people that are just on AEW Dark, and they've set up their own thing. And after a while, I wasn't pining for the AEW New Japan thing just because I'm like, well, it's not meant to be. I thought they were doing cool stuff with Impact. I was always hopeful for something like a Dragon Gate because I thought that would be very beneficial because of how they develop their young wrestlers, and especially with the amount of young wrestlers that are around AEW. But like the New Japan thing just comes back into focus now, and it's like, well, hell yeah, why not? Because and it's like, I'll take that. Like, and I don't know if it's like an official like partnership, but this is damn sure a lot better than Harold May, holding up Progress, them not wanting to talk about Kenny Omega in their commentary, or just weird stuff they'd leave out of videos, and them doing weird shit with each other. Let's just say that. It seems like, I'm very excited for this. Like, if this like leads to, future shows, if it leads to excursions for young dudes, because I don't see any reason why, if this is the case, like why the dudes that are stuck in America, like Ren Narita or like Shota Umino, who got banished to the UK, like why can't they show up on AEW Dark now? Like someone tell me a good reason why that wouldn't be fun or cool or like beneficial. So both companies are in a different situation, I think, than they were at the start of 2019, and I think the relationship dynamic might have even changed up a little bit because of how successful AEW's been. But just strictly as a jolt of excitement, it's just one more thing Tony Khan was talking about when he said, the balance of power. We about to flip this shit up. We got aces up the sleeve, and it seems like every one of these specials, they've done something like the world title change and Sting debuting and Winter is Coming. They had the super match with Kenny and Phoenix on New Year's Smash, and now this thing, like with all that, and then the Impact partnership was also with the Winter is Coming and all that. And it's like, this is the wrestling world that I want to live in. This like completely banished the Royal Rumble off the timeline, off of my timeline at least, and it was like, this is the hot shit in wrestling. This is the culture. Like we always talk about moving the culture. Like, this is it.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
You're muted, James.
Oh, it's funny because like you're muted, or I'm muted to you, but on the recording I'm not muted, so I was like, well, what the fuck is the point? I'm gonna have to pause the recording after we get to this, because like I can't deal with it not being able to be muted on recording, but as you talk. But yeah, so I think it's really cool. I thought that this was something that was inevitable. I didn't know where the cards were, or what was the future for this as the pandemic was happening. I thought that it just made sense from a perspective of they're going to do, or New Japan wants to, still do shows here. They have no TV. AEW has TV, but their young dudes don't really have much of an opportunity outside of other bookings they can get outside of doing Dark to get experience. Hey, let me use some of your TV to sell tickets. Hey, let me use some of your shows to get some experience for some of my guys on the undercard. It seemed like it was like a perfect fit. Obviously, you had the Ring of Honor stuff. You had bitterness with the way the Elite left. makes sense that it didn't immediately happen, but I felt like it just made too much sense with them not having a TV deal for them not to eventually do it. When Jericho showed up to Wrestle Kingdom 14 with the AEW World Championship, I thought that, all right, there's clearly a line of communication. We'll see where this goes. This is another, milestone in that, and it seems like they're progressing towards wherever they're headed towards. Is this just a thing for Strong? Who knows? Is the IWGP US title match going to be what Moxley ultimately does at Revolution? Who knows? But we're here now. He's on TV. Kenta's on TV again on AEW television for the first time, or was. He's going to have a match next week. So we're wherever direction we're headed. This is more fun than it was the day before. So wherever it goes, it goes. But this is more fun than it was the day before.
Yeah. So like I saw everyone throwing out like their dream matches and everything like that, and I don't know, the dream matches talk has been like kind of boring for me because I feel like everyone always has all the same matches they want to see, essentially. So like I took the liberty of coming up with matches that I really haven't heard people talk about that would just be kind of cool, and base it on alignments and think about like, hey, what could be done for this person? Oh, this person needs this. I have the perfect opponent for them here. Or just some type of, goofy storyline I can think of here. So, like for example, one that I brought up was the Great O'Khan versus Dustin Rhodes. Like, we saw what Dustin Rhodes did for Lance Archer last year. Like, think about how New Japan's trying to establish this guy as this killer, and like he's beating up old dudes. Like, right there, that's kind of Dustin's wheelhouse, right there. Right. I'd like to see Jungle Boy versus Shingo Takagi. I mean, I liked Jungle Boy versus Dax a whole lot, but this would be like a higher version of that.
A much higher version of that, yeah.
So, Wardlow versus Will Ospreay. That's, Wardlow doesn't miss, and Will Ospreay, like, you give him, like, you saw what he did with Lance Archer, and, I'll take 31-year-old Wardlow that's like, hungry as hell right now against Will, who's like hell-bent on like wrestling every different style of opponent and style of match right now to prove he's the best guy going. With Pac's recent, babyface turn, I decided, I was like, well, we're going to need some vile motherfucker. Why not Jay White? Pac versus Jay White, and then we can have them do an ab count off. They can do a pose down after the match as well. So
yeah, I'd have to ask. I didn't look, but like when you were seeing the IEW or the New Japan AEW dream matches, how many of these dream matches actually included Jay White? I'm sure there were a couple, but I won't say that. I imagine
sure they were all wrapped up. I think they were all wrapped up in like Bullet Club Civil War stuff.
Gotcha.
For me, it's not all that.
So no individual matches for him.
Yeah, I would probably say him versus Kenny, maybe. I might have seen.
Of course.
Yeah. So I think there's like, I have a goofy section that I thought of. I think they would actually be kind of a compelling team against the right opponents. But, so I've got Ricky Starks and Sonata in a dress off. Like, they can wrestle if they want, but we here for these fists. The drip, as they say.
So, yeah, you basically format this in much the same way that, like, you would format, like, the pose-offs in wrestling. Between people with great physiques, people with two great wardrobes, and you have them walk the catwalk. I can already see that. When you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, I can already see how that works as a television segment. I already see it.
So, I was thinking about opponents for both Kenny and Okada, and obviously them against each other. I wouldn't write that because that kind of goes without saying. But I decided to give them each like the most like electric junior heavyweight I could find on both of their rosters. So I was like, why not Kenny Omega and Hiromu Takahashi? We know Kenny likes wrestling smaller guys that are fast. We've seen the work. And then Okada, why not him versus Rey Fenix? I'm not really hearing too many people talk about that. So I think both of those would be incredible. And I think yeah. So expand your minds is what I'm saying. So up next, this one would have been like Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Brody Lee. But Brody Lee's no longer with us, so I had to think of the next heel kind of up and kind of a different direction, but MJF versus Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Oh my god.
And I would love it. I think that obviously like MJF can hang with whatever he wants to do in the ring. They can have an old school match, they can have a newer style match, whatever they want to do, and I think as long as MJF doesn't say anything ridiculous, he'll be okay.
No, the reason why I don't actually object to the match, but the idea of like, I don't want to see MJ. I don't want to see that piece of shit next time. Because I'm already thinking all the ways how you pissed me off for like the first 10 minutes of this match. I don't want to be pissed off for 10 minutes. Like it will be a great match, but I don't want to see it because I don't want him to make me feel that way. Yeah.
I got a TNT title match. I got Darby Allin versus Jeff Cobb. Hello, I think they would. Jeff Cobb would slam the shit down. Oh, hold on, y'all like Darby Allin versus Brian Cage, right?
Yeah.
Let's try with the other guy now. So this one is kind of a different situation, but I only thought of this because I thought of the promo that Eddie Kingston would cut. So it's gonna be Eddie Kingston versus Tetsuya Naito. So. We know Naito's a psycho.
The idea Eddie Kingston's like a pig in shit, like wrestling Japanese wrestlers. Just imagine. I've waited my whole life for this. I've been a long way from Yonkers.
This man be talking about I waited my whole life for some dude to be talking about tranquilo, take it easy. I done have family members die or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like he would work that in somehow, and it would be great. And then my last one I had was Hangman Page versus Kota Ibushi for the IWGP title, if they want. But I just think it would be a hell of a match. They ran it before in ROH. I'm remembering now, but we'll make Kenny Omega do commentary for this match.
I was gonna say this is a match for Kenny Omega's like heart, right? Like this is almost like the end of Love and Basketball. Oh man, yeah.
I got a goofy division, of course. I team up Okada and the Bucks against the Empire, Ospreay, Cobb, and O'Connor. I think that might be pretty good. I got Kenny Omega and Jay White against Ibushi and Moxley as a team. I got Dark Order versus Suzuki-gun. So Silver 5-10 Reynolds against Suzuki, Taichi, Zack Sabre, and Doki. I primarily want the John Silver Minoru Suzuki face-off. I want him to do Johnny Hungy and do the double buy in Minoru Suzuki's face, and then Minoru Suzuki to slap the shit out of him. Death Triangle versus LIJ. Pick whatever combo you want. And then Team Taz versus Chaos. I think might be interesting if you get Ishii, Goto, and a third, whether it's Okada or Sho against like Team Taz, like Ricky, Cage, and Hobbs. Like, I think that'd be pretty fun.
How come
those are my under the radar matches?
Okay, I noticed there was a pretty big like deficiency of like Bullet Club members. I seem to notice that. Yeah, but I guess you can move on.
I can't really think of anything for Evil that I want to see. Pardon me if I wasn't looking for the Garrote Wire to make an appearance on Dynamite.
You know what I want from that man? I want that man to stumble into millions of dollars and therefore retire. He can move on with the rest of his life.
Yeah. But let me know what matches you guys want to see that people aren't thinking about. Like, you're obviously everyone knows the obvious ones, but I think this is nothing but good for wrestling. So it's probably the most exciting thing to happen in a very long time.
Yeah, the stuff that comes to mind immediately for me is like junior stuff. So it's like I'm thinking of like a lot of like Show and Hiromu and Phoenix and Darby and Jungle Boy. That's the stuff I'm thinking of. But yeah, I get what you mean. But yeah, like I guess we can. It's been a minute. It's been like what, 3 weeks, whatever else.
Yeah,
I guess obviously we don't have to, do show reviews. That'd be stupid. But like, I guess we can like just talk about like this 3 weeks of stuff that's going on. Like, I guess we took at the top. We talk about like Kenny and Moxley and the band or whatever the Gallows and Anderson call themselves, and like the Young Bucks and like their not riff, but like their heat with Callis. Like, where do we even start? Like, what do you think they're doing? Like, obviously it seems like they clearly want the Young Bucks involved with this and then separated. Like, we already know Kenny's a heel, so like I'm confused. Are they trying to tease that like the Young Bucks may be heels, or they're stupid and idiots that are just trusting the Bullet Club stuff that's going to cause their doom when Gallows and Anderson eventually turns on them and you find out that like, Kenny Omega is Kenny Impact. Is that like, what do you think where do you think we're headed with this?
Like, I think since Callis is lying to Kenny, something's awry here. Where it may end up Kenny back on their side at some point. Whenever, like, I'm kind of charting it out. Whenever they have to turn Kenny back babyface, it's going to be because of Callis. So, as far as where the Bucks come in on this, I think they're just dumb babyfaces, as they've alluded to, like in BTE. But they're playing dumb babyfaces for the sake of like eventually them staying face against Gallows and Anderson, because like people don't like Gallows and Anderson. I've got to say though, ever since that they've showed up and they've linked them with Kenny, I had wanted to clown Gallows and Anderson and say they suck. Like, they've been really good.
Have they been really good though, or have they just been tagging with the Young Bucks or Kenny Omega?
I mean, they're doing.
I'm not saying they've been bad. They have not. They're doing. This is what I'll say. They have absolutely not been bad.
They've come to work.
They've been fine / good, but I would not be like the matches they've been in have been better than their contributions that they put in. Like, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It ultimately doesn't matter.
It's like, it's like they got that stink on them, and I forget, like, they were always like good, and then not in WWE anymore. So it's like, oh yeah, like they're perfectly like competent. Like, I'm not groaning the way I was, where I'm saying I wish the Young Bucks were in their place, like next to Kenny every time. Even though obviously you take the fucking Elite over this, but like I've been pleasantly surprised by those guys. But I think this thing is a long-term thing. Like, they've got the Impact pay-per-view. I believe it's called Rebellion, coming up in April. It has Kenny's logo in it. So I could see a Gallows and Anderson versus Bucks match in Impact. I could see, because it looks like the Bucks will be facing Jericho and MJF at Revolution.
Right.
I don't know if that leads to possibly a return match for the belts back in AEW, where the Bucks would win that one, obviously. But I think there's like, they're setting stuff up to bounce off two different sides of whatever they want to do in Impact and whatever they want to do back in AEW.
Okay, so I mean, we already talked about Moxley's part in this. What do you think of, babyface Pac calling out champion Omega, and what do you think this means? Do you think he's going to get another match? They've already had 3 of them. Do you think they're going to have a 4th and different dynamics, or or what? Like, you know, Phoenix already had his title shot, but I don't know. Like, it seems like they were teasing, like, for a while, like, they were teasing they were going to do Archer versus Pac, and then next thing you know, it seems like they're doing, like, they want you to think about Archer and Omega as well. Like, maybe that's a de facto contendership match eventually. Like, those two rush each other to get a title shot against Kenny. I don't know. Like, I don't. The Archer stuff just feels all over the place.
They're catching me off guard. Yeah, they're catching me off guard with the Archer stuff because Archer just shows up normally and just starts injecting themselves into shit at random with people he doesn't like. Right.
And it's like, no, there's not necessarily a rhyme or reason other than like, oh, that would be cool for them to have a match, but like, how do we get there? Who gives a shit? Like, I fall from the sky and that's how we get there. Like,
yeah,
like he's almost he's almost like a chaos agent. It's like, all right, well, we have this nice little neat picture, and it's like, oh, where did this shit come from, right? I'm not necessarily saying that's bad, but it's like, you know, when you're a person that kind of thinks
him being a babyface. I was gonna say him being a babyface that naturally like puts him like in a line of fire to either get some type of TV title match or a pay-per-view match if the cards break right for him.
Yeah. I mean, given that the pay-per-view is the beginning of March, like Kenny's going to have another defense between now and that title match on the pay-per-view.
I could easily see it being Archer on TV. The Pac thing kind of like, because I feel like they're going to do another Kenny and Moxley match, but I don't know. Like they've did the 6-man. Next week they're doing the lights out match, or I don't know if it's lights out actually. I think it might just be Falls Count Anywhere.
I think it was lights out and Falls Count Anywhere, but either way, like Falls Count Anywhere may as well be a lights out match. Like it's still a no DQ anyway. Who gives a shit?
Death match, death match. But I'm just trying to see if it counts for the records or not. So
gotcha. Who cares?
Because you know,
does anything
win is.
Does anything end up on anyone's record seeing that they reset every fucking year? Like
they have career records.
When's the last time you looked at someone's full career record in AEW? What's Cody's career record in AEW?
I can look it up.
My point is like they reset it every single year. So who gives a shit?
Yeah. I don't know where they're going with this. Like, I don't know if this is going to be where Mox gets his claim back to, you know, getting another match, you know, for the belt. But I don't know. I'd rather see Kenny versus Pac personally. I don't know if I think Mox and Kenny are good enough, but like, I don't know if they're. I feel like Kenny has to slow down for him a little bit.
I think the Kenta thing is there to pull Moxley away from the title picture. Like, I think that's kind of where they're headed. Like, if you were to ask me what the pay-per-view match is, or maybe not, let's not say pay-per-view, but like, I think we're going to get a Kenta, you know, a Kenta match, Moxley and Kenta. I don't know if it's for the IWGP US title or not, but I feel like we're going to get that before we get the title rematch with Omega.
So, because they're doing a new beginning match with Kenta and Moxley. So, what do we think? And that match has already been taped, obviously, in December. So, there's all types of like negative like booking or whatever that's going on here.
Hold on 1 second, because I have Caden out here acting like a monster. So let me pause to get this audio right. Hold on, he's out here losing his mind. Hold on. Okay, we're back after some technical difficulties and child in his house losing his fucking mind difficulties. So, once you were mentioning that at New Beginning they already planned a Moxley versus Kenta match, and it actually has already been recorded, which I was unaware of.
Yes, and apparently that was like where the deal essentially started popping off from. So you can trace back Moxley's promos where he's talking about all roads in professional wrestling lead through him. He said that for a reason, because like he's the one that, you know, they essentially brokered this shit for. It was like Tony was like, oh, y'all want to do it in America? Let's make a deal. So, and if they do that match, if there's maybe a disputed finish, or there's some type of there's a call for a rematch, you know, their U.S. title match, maybe it gets ran back at Revolution. I don't know. But it seems like they're keeping Kenny and Mox together for some reason right now. So I don't know if it's going to be Pac. I don't know if it's going to be Moxley. But I hope it's not a three-way just for my own selfish reasons. Like, it would be the first one I think they did in AEW for the world title. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to see more Omega in Pac, more Omega in Moxley. I think, you know, given that we've managed to seemingly go through, you know, I think it's been 7 pay-per-views, and we haven't really had, you know, really many or any rematches on the pay-per-views yet. So, going right back to it is kind of is different from what they've done, but we'll see. I think maybe would it be a crazy idea if they didn't have the AEW title be defended on pay-per-view? Like if they did some Young Bucks, some trios match with like the Club, or not the Club, but basically the Club and Omega versus the Young Bucks in a third. Would that be crazy?
Well, seeing the Young Bucks already have a match committed for them.
Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind. I'm fantasy booking bullshit. Never mind. That's right. They're taking on Jericho and MJF. So yeah. So I guess we can transition over to that. It's not that bad of a segue, actually. Their MJF he's putting the final touches on this thing. He's bringing it home. He's about to have the inner circle to himself with Jericho and Guevara assed out.
Brilliant work.
Pretty masterful.
Yeah.
But you can already see it. It's going to be his, and then those two will be baby faces on their own, and maybe they realize that they were played, and they come back together as a tag team. You get late sex gods, or they hate each other still, and they go to separate ways. Then there are 2 solo acts, but that seems to be where they're headed.
There's going to be a Sammy Guevara MJF match one day. And it's going to be hot.
Now,
and they're not going to give it to you right away, I feel like. I feel like they're going to let that percolate a little bit. But I'm waiting for it.
Now, they can also undo this come next week, and cooler heads prevail. And obviously they let it simmer more because, as they always say, they watched the show. Jericho didn't actually knock out Guevara on purpose. That was on accident. But Sammy was so hot about it.
Yep.
So
it might be too much.
We'll see how this goes. They've constantly told Jericho's constantly told us, we watch the shows. Well, you know, we'll see where they go with this. If they drop, we'll see if this is just a one-time thing, or if this is a continuation of where they're headed. But yeah, it was a good use of the Battle Royal. The Young Bucks didn't need to win the thing. Like, for me, almost by the time the bell rang, I was like, what's Jericho and MJF doing? Oh, they're going to be taking over the Bucks. I guess, like, as the match was going, like, early, like, minutes after the bell rang, I was like, oh yeah, who the fuck else? Like, Jericho's not going to be on pay-per-view? Come on now. So, like, of course that's
like Matt got thrown out. Matt got thrown out fairly early, and I was looking around like, what's about to happen here? I thought Nick was just going to go on like a crazy run, and he kind of did.
Like last year?
Yeah, but it was Matt that went on the crazy run last year. So, Yeah, I was into the Battle Royal. I thought it was like, quick, and the eliminations like kind of made sense. They weren't as detailed as I think as they've been sometimes in the past, where every single elimination leads to like a storyline or some type of program. But you got you got Darius Martin in there to the very end with Sammy. And it was just like, I started looking around that Battle Royal and then seeing Jungle Boy and the crowd. When Jungle Boy first came out, oh my God.
Right. Let's have a conversation now. He has that 80s ass theme song from...
Bro, they're going to start doing it on his comebacks. It's going to be fucking amazing.
Here's my concern. When are they ever going to chant the melody correctly? Because they keep doing half of it instead of the whole fucking thing. It is nails on chalkboard to me. It is like,
I had never heard the song until this, so like, how's it supposed to go?
Like the song, like, oh, and they just doing like the first like 4 notes, and it's like. But like, bro, like imagine, you're watching.
You gotta make that chantable.
Imagine you're watching NXT. That is chantable. That's why the fucking pop singer did it in the 80s. And it's like, it was so memorable that the AEW people brought it back. But the thing for me is like, I'm trying to imagine like if you just did like the first 4 notes of like Shinsuke Nakamura shit. It's like, that just sounds wrong. But like, why can't y'all? I don't know if it's too hard, but I'm thinking like, is this as hard as clapping on 2 and 4 for y'all? Is it that hard?
Wow.
Is that what this is?
Yeah, I think the sound, I don't know if it's going to carry like that extra dip in the O's. So it's like they're trying to get it to where it can stay loud. And he definitely felt like a bigger star, to me at least, coming out this week. And
they threw him out too early, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they threw him out too early too. I think his match with Dax was phenomenal last week. I didn't give it 4.5 like Dave did. I gave it 4.25. But I thought this was like the reason, or one of the reasons I watch pro wrestling. Watch like new young guys fight like rugged veterans that put him through some shit to get him to the promised land. Like that's what that match felt like. And this was like Jungle Boy's first singles win, I believe. And this is like what I've termed year 3 Jungle Boy. So I'm all in on Jungle Boy. Like all he does is, come through every time you ask him to.
Yeah, I like the match. I think I gave it 4 flat. But yeah, I just either way, it's a great match. I'm not going to get into Dave Meltzer overrating AEW matches. Like, that's a thing. It happens. Whatever. Whatever. Who gives a shit? But, yeah. I'm wondering how they're going to get on pay-per-view.
They're going to do FTR and Jurassic motherfuckers.
Now, am I mistaken, or have they had that match before? Like, last year? Like,
I think they've done it.
When they were feeding everybody to FTR.
I think they did it, but they never did it with the combo, I think, of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Okay.
Like, it's always been Marco.
Okay.
So, but since Marco was, like, abducted, we'll get to that later, but...
Are we going to get to that later?
Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, but I guess like going through it, like it was a nice little ending. Jericho and MJF won. They are taking on the Bucks. I think that'll be a very interesting match stylistically because from what I know, the Bucks like to lay everything out and Jericho likes to lay nothing out. And MJF can pretty much do whatever you want to do. So I wonder who will prevail here. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, this is the end of the road for MJF and Jericho being fake friends.
They got to lose,
right? Like they have to lose, and this has to be what causes them to split, right? This has to be the end of the road here, right?
This is Jericho's swan song to being a heel. This is, I think MJF has to really like fuck him up and take him off TV for like a month.
What if he's on for a month and he shows up? He's like 20 pounds lighter.
Jericho come back, fresh off the DDP yoga. Be like, all right, all I needed was a month to get myself right.
That'd be.
I'm gonna be a babyface again. I gotta be slim,
right? I gotta fly. I gotta be aerodynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. I'm trying to think what else. Team Taz, Darby versus Darby and Sting. I don't know. I'm kind of just ready for it. I'm sure we're going to get something with Darby and actually, I don't know. Like, I felt like they called it so early, as now it's like, what else is there to promote with this match now? Do you feel like they have like 5 more weeks worth of stuff to do?
I think I'm trying to see like what a setup match could be here, because I don't think you're going to roll out Sting at any point.
Right.
I don't know if you do, like, he's already beat Will, he's beat Ricky as far as Darby goes. He's beat Cage singles. Does Taz want some?
Like, it's so funny that,
does
like,
the super strong suplex machine want some?
It's funny because it's like there are so many old guys wrestling still, or coming back to wrestle for special dates, and it's like the thought of Taz coming back to wrestle just sounds so preposterous.
Bro, like that man can't say, that man's definitely too fucked up.
Like, that man, has he wrestled in 20 years? No, has he wrestled in 15 years?
Definitely not.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, but that's what kind of match is that? Is it some type of
the setup? The setup match is Joey Janela coming back from the dead, and it's like, give Darby something to do in the meantime. Pull Janela out. I think if you were to ask Joey Janela, about his position in the company, he would want to be doing more. And these two guys are fucking psychopaths. They have a history of matches with each other, at least 7 of them, from everywhere from PWG to various indies everywhere. I believe they may have wrestled in Evolve. I saw Joey Janela tweet out like 7 of their matches of their history, kind of on some Emi Sakura shit, like explaining it. So like, it feels like this should be great.
Yeah. And that's going to be on next week's show, right?
Yeah, that's going to be next week's show.
Okay. All right. Well, that's not bad for Darby for a, because that's a title defense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad for a title defense, but I mean, as far as like setting the table for, or give you some intrigue into this, the match with, or tagging with Sting against Team Taz. I mean, I feel like, I oversold. I said it was 5 weeks. It's more like, 4 or 3 weeks, but, we'll see what they do. Like, that's a nice little placeholder with, 3 or 4 weeks ago or whatever. So, what else do we have to head to? Britt versus Sheeta was Raw. Not Sheeta, but Thunder Rosa.
Britt versus Thunder Rosa.
Yeah. That was a very good match. That was a very good match.
Dare I say, like, the most like anticipated women's match in like AEW history? By the time it happened,
the fact that might be is really depressing.
I mean, they've done a great job with it, and it seems like real life kind of like, they wanted to do it earlier, but real life dealt them it dealt them another month and a couple, more beat downs and heat building segments. So like, it actually, felt worthy of the position, and they got time.
What about Sheeta versus Nyla, the first one, with the title change?
I think it was more of, I think Nyla had just won the belt. I didn't sense any grand story with.
Well, we knew that belt was going on Sheeta's waist eventually, and it was like, oh, she got a title shot. Well, I wonder what's going to happen here. Maybe I'm thinking of it in the sense, maybe I'm confused in the sense of like from the, story being laid
maybe
out.
Thunder Rosa.
Yeah. Maybe. I'll probably put Britt and Sheeta Harker. They put more work into that than this. Or into
just
this.
Is very. I don't know what it is with Britt now. Britt has, I think, since her leg injury, she's rebuilt her body to where she was very skinny before, and now she feels like more of a power wrestler, and it looks like she's added 10 pounds of muscle maybe. And she looks a lot more vicious to me in the ring. She's smooth, as far as all her transitions and counters. Thunder Rosa is an awesome person to wrestle because she's going to fight you and she's going to wrestle you as well. And it's just always going to be intense. I thought they did some good kick out spots in the match. And I think they, even the finish, I thought the finish, it took for me, if you have a rusty tire or something, a tire don't quite turn as smooth. I think you could kind of see where it was heading, but for me, it didn't kill the match or anything. I gave it a 3.5.
I would give it 3.5. I hated the finish, so it's not on my recommended matches list. That finish made me no, I'm not putting this on my list. Fuck out of here. But yeah, the wrestling was 3.5 star level.
And maybe they do a rematch in that tournament at some point.
Yeah, I still think Sheeta is far beyond Britt, technically, but Britt was able to hold it in the road at least.
So I don't know if this is well, they brought it up later, but we might as well bring it up now. They announced the participants for the tournament, the World Title Eliminator Tournament for the women. It's going to be a Japanese side. There's going to be American side. I am pulling up the participants right now.
I mean, I can give you the Japanese side, but I don't remember the American side. The Japanese side is basically 5 of the wrestlers that were in the that Joshi trios from Double or Nothing. So Yuka Sakazaki, Aja Kong, Emi Sakura, Ryo Mizunami. And I'm blanking on the other person that was in it besides Riho. No, Sheeta was... Never mind. So those 4, because Sheeta was in it. Then you have Ren Katakura, who's from Marvelous. You have Vinny, also known as the other Asuka. You have Mei Saruga from Gata Move, another Emi Sakura project. Not project, she's very damn good. Pupil, that'd be the word. And I'm blanking on the 8th right now.
Maki Ito.
That's right, Maki Ito from Tokyo Joshi Pro. Yeah, who was probably the best built Joshi to go to AEW. That they hadn't already had signed or already on the shows. Yeah, so if you're going to grab, for American audiences, non-Stardomers, that's about as good of a list as you're going to get. What was the women's? Riho and Britt and Thunder Rosa.
Got you right here. So we've got Serena Deeb, Riho, Britt Baker, Ty Conti, Thunder Rosa, Nyla Rose, Anna Jay, and Layla Hirsch.
Okay. Yeah. We don't have brackets yet.
So also don't have brackets. Another time where I audibly popped was when Aja Khan popped on the screen. Yes! One of those.
I believe do we know, is it going to be similar to the women's tag team tournament where everything is just on YouTube, or what's the situation? Do we know exactly? I know there's still going to be some YouTube for some of these matches at least.
I know the Japan side is going to be on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the American side will probably find its way onto Dynamite at some point.
And
you may get
920.
one. you may get like one first round American match like on YouTube, or maybe two, but you'll probably get 2 first round matches on Dynamite. You'll get your semifinal and final on Dynamite, but your Japanese stuff is probably going to primarily live on YouTube, because what I'm hearing is they're taping it in an empty building, and I don't know, I don't know who's handling the production and all that. So, in my opinion, apparently this is controversial. I'm not cutting from the arena to like the empty building and then back to the arena. Like, nah, man. Like, one of them is going to come over to America, and assumingly, I would assume the finals would be on Dynamite, just like the tags tournament one was. I don't know which way they're going to go with it though. Like, there's a lot of you can make a case for at least like 4 or 5 people on the Japan side to come over here.
Okay, so what are your cases for the people that you have? Like, who do you have in mind? Yuka's obviously one.
If you want Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki would be one. Okay. Everybody already knows her. She's already a proven ratings draw, as she gave Charlotte that work last year. Aja Kong. If you want someone to beat a monster in the finals, and she's a legend, you can put her there. I think if you want to go with Vinny, if this is if everything I'm hearing about Vinny is true, if she's just kicking ass the whole tournament, you can bring her here to try to kick some more ass. Look, I don't think Emmy's
the thing for Asuka. Okay, so sorry, Vinny Asuka, because in Japan she's Asuka. In America, her name is Vinny because she can't be Asuka here because there already is a fucking Asuka. But Vinny is probably the best heel in Joshi. She is a chicken shit heel, but she also is fucking incredible and is a Rich Lada's pro wrestling enthusiast, does flips, does moonsaults, does flips off of turnbuckle back over the top of people onto the no hands onto the back to the center of the ring. Like, she's fucking incredible. She like Mayu, Io, Arisa Nakajima, Takumi, and then her name is right amongst them. Like, she's that fucking good. Asuka as well. So like, yeah. But the thing is, she's a heel, so like when I think of Aja Kong and I think of Vinny, I'm thinking of like, well, who's going to win the women's side who's the women's side? Who's going to win the American side? I'm thinking like the only real options are like Riho or Britt, and I'm thinking this is Britt's tournament to win. So I'm thinking we're just going to get. I'm thinking we're going to get Yuka versus Britt to play off of, the thing that happened when she took her tooth out months ago or a year ago, whatever that was, the beginning of 2020. So, like, for me, I'm thinking, like, we're picking, like, okay, so you mentioned Aja Kong, you mentioned Yuka, and you mentioned Vinny. Who'll be the fourth?
Maki Ito. And that's just because, like, she's very popular on Twitter already.
And she, if you put her on TV, she's going to get over more than any of the other 7 people.
Yeah,
I get it.
I don't think I don't think they're going to bring Emi Sakura back. They've already kind of done that. And Ryo Mazanubi, no. Mei Segura, no. Rin Kadokura, I'm hearing it's very good. She's tag team partners good. with Takumi Iroha, which you maybe aware of, and
their tag team is called
maybe this was Takumi Iroha's spot,
right?
That she may be in right now, right. And I just got sad.
And the thing for me is, if I were going to pick someone to be on AEW television or whatever else, based on however someone can get, or just flat out how great of a worker they are, my pick out of Marvelous that's not Takumi because she has a torn ACL would be Mei Hoshizuki. Like, you pull up, like, she was in the same match I saw Rin for the first time in a triple threat against Queen's Quest back in like October. She's a super worker. She's like Azumi good, right? Like, she's a high speed demon. She's good. And like, what you remember when you watch that match is you remember May and you remember Takumi. You don't really remember Ren. You remember Ren doing some stuff with Utami, and it was good, but it was like that wasn't what the point of the match was. Like, I haven't seen her at a full, doing or showcasing anything or whatever. But like, if you were picking a baby face to even out, the gang of heels you have with Ito and Ito can't be a heel. She's more of a tweener. It depends on what she wants to do. But like, I would have picked May, but whatever. Ren's not winning it. We know she's there. She's cannon fodder for whoever else they're going to put her with.
Right. Well, I think once you get to that semifinal, it's wide open. So, yeah. But as far as American side, as you mentioned, like, this feels like Britt Baker Riho collision course. Yeah. Of course, Serena and Rio have a match the first round. So unless some goofiness is pulled there, which I don't think, Rio's losing her debut match back in America.
Are we sleeping on Thunder Rosa?
I think they are. I don't know if we're being disrespectful because Thunder Rosa is like, I feel like she has a wink, wink, nudge, nudge deal. Like, she appeared in the rankings for the women's thing the first time the past couple weeks. So that normally they wouldn't have her ranked if she wasn't signed. Right. And that's the only reservation I have about her in this tournament. She feels like someone that loses in the semifinals, maybe to Riho.
Yeah, like, she's someone that I feel like either loses in, like, on either in the semis or in the quarters, to, like, I feel like the only people she's losing to in this thing would be either, not Sheeta, Jesus, Riho or Britt. Those are the only people that she would lose to. So, from that perspective, but, like, I don't think she's going to beat either one of them if it comes down to it.
Like, I think the match on Beach Break kind of, for me, it tipped off what may happen. So since she didn't beat Thunder Rosa clean, right, there was bullshit.
Right.
She may even avoid her in the tournament. Britt may avoid Thunder Rosa in the tournament. Thunder Rosa may lose somewhere else. But it's like, hey, whenever Britt has this belt, there's a fucking challenger right there. Run that back.
Right.
So, but yeah, no Big Swole. No Penelope here. Trying to think of anyone else that was kind
of. I feel like I've seen Penelope wrestle like one time in like the last 6 months.
Yeah, not much on the wrestling.
Maybe some dark stuff that was going on. I'm just unaware. But like on Dynamite, I feel like I've seen her wrestle one time like in the last 6 months, and it was tagging with Britt, I believe.
Yeah. So, Anna Jay, Layla Hirsch, Nyla. I think Nyla's ripe for a first round upset, personally.
I hope she's matched up with Layla. I really do.
Yeah. I think that might happen. But yeah. Besides that, I think it's going to be a solid tournament overall. And, it's like the plan is coming back together to supplement this entire thing with the Joshis and then keep developing your stars. So they did not succumb to the bullshit outrage that I think a lot of folks put out there, to stopwatch gang and everything else last summer when they were just wanting the terrible wrestling to be featured more. They took their time and they've rebuilt this thing. It's like you got a strong champion who has had the belt for a really long fucking time, and then now this tournament is just cool shit happening. So shouts out to them for figuring that out. So they had a tag match with Adam Page and Matt Hardy. They beat on Chaos Project. Heyman looked like a fucking star in this match. He was just like it felt like he was a you ever see like when Shawn Michaels would be in the 90s, like clearly overmatched, or he would be clearly more over like than the opponent or whatever. This is like after 96 and he's wrestling like a TV match and he's fucking off and doing and winking at the camera and shit like that. Like Heyman was doing that.
Yeah. He had the match won and then Matt Hardy stole the pin. It looks like they're going to do he's looking for somebody to be with. He's looking for somebody, like, he's almost in a utility role right now for the time being. I think ultimately this is going to lead to, like, him going back to Dark Order and it being, like, the official thing, but we'll see. Like, how many more like different outfits and things he's going to try on before he realizes, like, how about all you've been crying about is people, you want people that love you. They love your snake and draws. Go back there.
Or he could be his fucking self. Like
do we even know what that is?
Right.
He's a grown ass man in 2001 dressing like a fucking cowboy. He was a teacher. What?
Do you remember in the Jay-Z Black album documentary where he was in the studio and there was like some up and coming rapper that we didn't know who they were, and they were talking to Jay-Z pretty much about how he wanted to present himself, and he was like, man, I don't even be knowing myself. I don't be knowing how to really present where I want to go. I don't really want to be rapping about shooting and killing people. And then like Young Guru looks at him like, man, be the fuck you, like. Like, that's what Heyman Faye's gonna have to figure out. He's gonna have to be the fuck him. So, there was inner circle turmoil. Sammy G asked, why is he always the collateral damage? Jericho said they're all in this together, and Guevara said sometimes not all that sure. And Jericho walked out the room, and then when the cameraman or MJF was there left with the gang, he kicked the cameraman out. So a scheme was being hatched here.
Yeah. Trying to think what else is there to cover over like the last 3 weeks here? Are we missing anything, or do we think we touched everything?
I'm trying to think. There was one AEW show I didn't like very much. It might have been 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Then they came back much stronger the next week, and then it was Beach Break.
Yeah.
I just don't remember off the top of my head everything that happened.
We got to talk about the wedding.
I mean, we can, 30 seconds. Like, they got married. There was not really any bullshit until after, which is nuts. They actually, quote unquote, got married. It actually went down, but I've learned later they married each other in real life. Prior to that, this was like their ceremony on TV. They pretty much got through the wedding stuff with no bullshit. The wedding drew shocker there, or not a shock at all. Miro was saying what is love, and the crowd was chanting "Baby don't hurt me." I fucking screamed. But yeah, it really wasn't much at all, actually. I thought it was gonna be like some type of major angle, but it was just eventually to get Orange Cassidy and Miro.
So what was the time frame on the slavery?
I thought it was until the wedding. I thought.
So basically they got married and then they decided to fuck shit up. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. But I was sitting there so he waited this whole time and then fucked their shit as opposed to just walking out and quitting before. I forgot what the situation was. I thought maybe even, a time frame. I don't know. But whatever. They fucked stuff up and they left. Orange Cassidy vs. Miro, that could be fun. I don't know what we're gonna do with Chuck Taylor. Without Trent, I don't know what we're gonna do with him.
AEW Dark. Commentary. The women's matches.
Why can't him and Trent, or not him and Trent? Why can't him and Orange be a tag team for now? Too many tag teams.
Ain't really no room for them. Yeah, okay, ain't no really room.
Fair enough. All right.
Bro, I was listening to Joe Lanza, he named off 20 tag teams for AEW.
Well, there's 15 of them alone on Dark by themselves. They probably got 35 men's tag teams.
Yeah. So, just add one more. Yeah. So they showed Shaq, and this is some of the best news also on this show. He called Cody Rhodes a cupcake. He said he's going to use a new finisher, Black Tornado, and it was essentially the Judas effect. And he threw another clothesline into it. They made the announcement that this will not be on Revolution. It has been rescheduled for Dynamite. And the reason why is they're doing an All-Star game. So on the same day as Revolution, Shaq has TNT commitments there.
Wait. Wait. Revolution's on a Sunday?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they moved Revolution to avoid some like either UFC or something huge on Saturday or whatever, but then they ran into the NBA All-Star game. So it's like it's a good lesson, I think, that no matter where you try to like, you know, if you try to move off something, like something else could just pop up. So you might as well just try to compete. But
the real thing would be like if you did it in late February, don't do it in fucking early March. Just do it in late February again. If you were trying to avoid the UFC, what did you run into? And there's another thing is like, all right, man, like
they did avoid late February. That was the date they wanted.
But okay, I see what you're saying. They avoided that weekend. I mean, but the thing is, right? Okay, so why didn't they do it on the 6th then instead of the 7th? Sorry, why they do it on the Saturday on Saturday instead of Sunday in early March? I don't understand why they moved that. Was it an availability thing for pay-per-view? Or no one knows. Like my main thing is this.
I feel like there's a bunch of like stiff Saturday stuff that's happening, but I feel like you're always going to run into something. But I think they got spooked by that one time that Jake Paul pay-per-view landed on the same day as I think it was Full Gear, if I'm not mistaken, and you know they were a little bit lower. So
I just miss like NXT. I hate it when NXT moved to Sundays. Right, like when they do these standalone shows that aren't like tied to SummerSlam or WrestleMania. Like I hate the fact that they move these to Sundays. Like do your shit on Saturdays. All your other shows are on Saturdays. Like I just don't like that idea. And you know they had done 70s on Saturdays, moved to Sundays. It's like whatever, man, whatever. Like obviously they would not do this if there were drawing houses. They would absolutely not do this. It would absolutely be on a Saturday. But whatever. Yeah. They would be like, come in for the weekend, we'll do the show on a Saturday, you can fly back out on Sunday as opposed to, you know, running up against it as far as, you know, travel.
Yeah. So they did a lumberjack match with Kingston and Archer, and I kind of zoned out on this match. I don't remember anything.
Okay. So Eddie Kingston's a jobber that just talks real good, right?
Yeah, because he can cut a promo in an instant.
My point is like
right.
He loses to everybody. Like the match he won against Archer, he got his ass whooped like 80-20. And then he just won it in because they came out and cheated. And then like the next match they had this match and like Archer just whooped his ass. And then like look at how Pac whooped the shit out of him a few weeks ago. It's like, and then Moxley beat him. And then Moxley told him, "You can't beat me." And then he beat him. That man does not win.
Hey, that man has an invaluable skill.
I'm not saying he doesn't, but it's like he's here to do jobs. It's great. It's great. He's one of the best talkers in the world. He's here to do jobs. Like there is no Eddie Kingston push happening here. Like there are Eddie Kingston programs for him to eventually lose or inevitably lose. But him winning one of these things, nah, bruh.
Yeah, I wouldn't have beat anybody either. Like until you flip a babyface.
We'll see. Like we'll see how that goes.
Did you want him to beat Pac?
I mean,
how would you have reacted to that, James?
I would say don't book the match.
Oh, so now he can't work. What the fuck?
No. I'm not saying don't put him in matches. I'm saying like, all right, like, can you get the man some fucking wins on TV? like the amount of matches he's lost to name people. Like, now make it obvious that, like, the next time he's in a match with a named person, I'm not going to be as into it because I know he's going to fucking lose. That's all I'm saying. Get the man, can the man squash a bit? Can he get Marco stunned? Can he even whoop Marco stunned at this point? That's all I'm saying. Get this man a win or two on TV. That's all I ask. A clean one. That's all I ask.
He's fine.
All right. Let this continue for like another 2-3 months. You'll be like, damn, bro, like, why is he on TV? All I do is fucking lose. You gotta have something, otherwise get him off TV. Is he winning on Dark at least?
I had to check.
You don't even know what's Dark.
I know. I'm pretty sure Dark's so fucking long, bro. Like, bro, like if you're booked on Dark, you win. Like,
okay, fair enough. All
right. They did have some people. Speaking of Dark, they had Bear Country out there, and you know what that means. They attacked Butcher and Blade. So this means like
wait. He said they had Bear Country. You know what that means? No, the fuck I don't. I thought it was Bull Dempsey until y'all told me that was Bear Country. I'm like, all right, I've never heard of these dudes, but all right.
Okay, so when I say that, like, this is similar to Will Hobbs getting the look on Dynamite. This is similar to Starks. He's graduated. Like, they graduated. They're probably going to sign them dudes, and they're good, and they're like different than everybody. I think in the tag team division, there are no big bruisers that flip in the tag division. So I think they are. I enjoy them every time I've watched them. So they after that, FTR did an interview complaining about being suspended. When the interview was over, they showed they kidnapped Marco Stunt, who was bound and gagged. Marco Stunt resurfaced on Twitter today. So, James, what do you think some of the FTR torture tactics would have been? Because I've got one, and there's plenty that FTR could have done to torture Marco Stunt.
Okay, so FTR,
like how often FTR, like how often did they yell at him about the tag rope? Like, how long did that go on?
I thought you were
3 hours.
I thought you were going to say you're going to bully Marco into picking up litter in the locker room.
I believe there are a couple people that replied to me and said maybe they made Marco listen to the Jim Cornette Experience in regular speed.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't prepared for this.
Okay,
but the idea is funny. Like, the torture is actually torture. It's just minor annoyances. Yes, it's funny.
Yes, it's just FTR being themselves. Annoying. Like, so you think about various torture stuff and just chime in whenever you think of something.
They complain. Yeah, I got one for you right now. They complain about Dave Meltzer to Marco Stunt. Like, I don't give a shit. It doesn't even rate my matches. Like, let it go, dude. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
So after that, we got the main event. It was Omega, Gallows, and Anderson against Pac, Moxley, and Phoenix.
Bro,
and my God.
Speaking of that, let you know, like, I'm sorry for interrupting, but we got to go back to Adam Page. Think of how much this man is looking for some affection, that the fact that this man was out there hanging out and kicking it with FTR's annoying ass. And then screwed over the Young Bucks for them. And they didn't even ask him to do it. He just did it off the strip. Those annoying guys. Wow. Wow, Hangman Page. Wow, Adam. Wow.
Yeah. So the main event was fucking awesome. It was just like little segments of like just great work for everyone, shining back and forth. Just great near falls, great spots, great individual matchups, and Ray Phoenix running around like, doing his thing, and in another main event on this here show. And I thought this was just like, I guess 4.5. It was like,
I did too.
Awesome.
Yeah, like,
wrote it down, and I was like, yeah, I feel really good about this.
Like, Phoenix was like the best wrestler that night on that show. Like, the crazy part about it, like, that struck out to me was like, he started throwing out drop kicks. I was like, I don't think I've ever recalled him doing a drop kick before, but like, this is cool. He like broke out like 2 or 3 drop kicks. Bring out drop kicks, okay? Like, all the fancy smancy, super convoluted, complicated stuff you do. Drop kicks is your thing this week. Okay, fine, Phoenix. Pac was great, as usual. Kenny was great as usual. Moxley and Kenny's interactions were great. Carl Anderson was very good in the match. Your boy Gallows had a nice super kick. He didn't look like the slowest athlete on in professional wrestling this week, so that was good. Yeah, man, it was a blast of a match to watch. It was a blast.
Yeah. I can't really say much more than that, but I highly recommend it.
Yeah. I mean, it's too much shit to remember like days later.
Yeah, they gave Phoenix a magic killer at the end, so Gallows and Anderson and Kenny remained strong as a team. I thought this may have been a time for one of them maybe to beat Kenny to set up something, but I think that's still down the road. Like, they've got the tag match set next week. I don't know if it comes at that point, but as I mentioned, like, I keep waiting for Gallows and Anderson to suck, and they just haven't. So at the end of the match, what's his name runs out. Lance Archer basically jumps on. What the fuck did he jump on?
Wait till Gallows and Anderson wrestle FTR. Then they'll have the match where they suck.
Well, at that point, who will we blame?
Oh, Gallows and Anderson. FTR's done nothing but have good matches. Like, have they ever had a bad match on AEW television? I don't think they have.
Yes, on pay-per-view.
What pay-per-view match is bad?
Kenny and Hangman against FTR.
Disappointing and bad aren't the same thing.
Yeah, but they did the whole thing. Cleared people out, and then Moxley was about to jump on Kenny, but there was a masked man here from New Japan or Pro Wrestling by the way of Orlando came out there. Kenta unmasked, and this guy Kenta is involved in another great angle. Like, you know, all these angles, like, you know, the Shibata thing, the Wrestle Kingdom thing, this, and it's like, isn't that nice? Isn't that like, it's just interesting that this is all happening for this guy since he's left WWE. And I'm not even like the biggest like Kenta fan like that, but it's cool to see him like in all these situations.
All he does is kick. It's and I can't even like with the WWE thing is like I can't even blame WWE thing. Like, he was always injured, and then like he had trouble trying to figure out how to not like wrestle while not killing.
There was this thing too. He was working with these green motherfuckers that he probably shouldn't have been in there with, that were dropping him on his head and shit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, green motherfuckers
in NXT.
Well, I mean, look at Johnny Gargano.
Also, working with a green motherfucker that's dropping on him on his damn head.
Right. Yeah, I think, you know, I'm just saying, like, you know, there are a bunch of people who'd be like, WWE dropped the ball with this person, and mismanaged this person, mishandled this person, like, with Hideo Itami / Kenta. That's low on the list. That's real low on the list as far as things, like, sure, WWE is to blame for, like, any company that foils somebody that botched somebody as talented as he is, like, deserves some culpability in it, but, that one was kind of like, he's injured, he's language barrier, acclimating to the country, acclimating to the style, like trying to wrestle without trying to murder somebody. It was a lot of stuff. Like, the really only time we ever really saw him was like the 205 Live run, in that match he had with Aleister Black was like the only time we really saw him like at like, you know, something approaching optimal level for Kenta. So, you know, and like I enjoyed his first G1 run more than most people. I enjoy Kenta in general more than most people that watch New Japan, but so I'm happy to see him here. Like, I want to see him at Moxley. I think that'd be a really good match. I really do. So wherever it is, whether it's on Strong or on New Beginning or in AEW, I'm going to check it out whenever, you know, but becomes available.
Yeah. So it's going to be on the New Beginning in USA, which would be one of the Strong nights, I believe.
Okay, so I guess I have to check it out on Strong.
Yeah.
The Pell Rider.
Yeah. So they did the angle post show where Kenny walks up to Kenta. Have you seen this, James?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yes. Kenny walks up to him and just like a fucking dork, and he's like, Brother Switchblade didn't tell me to expect a guest.
Right. And then when he said that, I was like, and when I saw that, I was like, wait a second. Didn't they kick you the fuck out of Bullet Club officially? And then Kenta was like,
Switchblade was on before that whole.
My point is like, regardless of that whole situation, is like, you are elite. You are not Bullet Club. Who gives a shit about this or whatever? But like, once Kenta was like having none of his shit, it was like, okay, regardless of that line Kenny said, it makes sense because Kenny don't fuck with him anyway, or Kenta doesn't fuck with him anyway.
Yeah, it was like, fuck you, I'm here for Jon Moxley. And then Kenny was like, well, all right then. And then how about this?
After he said all that, I was halfway surprised that like Kenta then just take off on that man's wardrobe the last couple weeks. Like, and another thing, what are those? What them is, Chief?
Where did you purchase this?
Yes.
Is there another one?
Whose haberdashery did you arrive at and find this shit? Where do you find these threads and silks?
Kenta gave Moxley to GTS. Also, I forgot to mention, but next week, Kenny Omega and Kenta versus Archer and Moxley. Lights out match or some type of death match. So, yeah, I'm ready. And the timeline just was like pure explosion. Like, it's the moment we were all waiting for it. And I watched, some Puro nerds and, watch people, I hope their skin's crawling. The Puro elitists that said this would never happen. This would just ruin New Japan. No, that's not going to happen.
The Impact partnership didn't ruin New Japan, but this is. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Goofy.
Yeah.
They sent Great Khan to Rev Pro. No disrespect to Rev Pro, but they send him to a place where I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, they send people everywhere. Who gives a shit? Like, if they're gonna like the Ring of Honor thing at this point, given what they did. Think about this, right? Think about how we talk about and think about that G1 Supercard, right? And think about how that was a New Japan big show level show, all the New Japan stuff that happened in there, whether it was the Okada and Jay White match, whether it was the Naito and Ibushi match, right? And then think of the bullshit the Ring of Honor put out there in Madison Square Garden. And you're talking about, you're saying this is this is what it'll never recover from this, bruh.
You know what I think it is?
Ring of Honor has been effectively dead ever since that show. Come on, man, get out of here.
Indeed. You know what I think it might be? I think it might be some of those people might not be able to handle like New Japan not seeming like the dominant entity in this thing, and it just we often talk about people tying their identities to these promotions. I'm a very big AEW fan, but at the same time, like, if they're fucking up, like, I'm not about to run from it. But they they see AEW New Japan, and then like AEW's like not in that Ring of Honor role, and I think that really bothers them.
But it's like, if you have this partnership and one's way up here, one's way up there, then it's like, what's the point of even having it? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
You know what I mean? Obviously, it's cool to see Adam Page in the G1 a couple years ago. Like, that's cool. Jeff Cobb when he was he came over before, or the year 2019 when he did the Dallas stuff, right? Or did Dallas G1 and then finish out the rest of G1. Like that's cool or whatever else, but it's like, ultimately, if y'all are going to swap people back and forth, like, it would behoove you to have that person be of some type of interest, so that like eventually you can get a star X that you have in mind, a big win against this person, as opposed to like, oh, Jeff Cobb just won 8 points in the G1 again. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Oh yeah, he went 4 and 5 in the G1. Right. That was the peak of the partnership. Like, nah, man.
Right.
Like, they're trying to do cool shit, sell pay-per-views, sell subscriptions, and like,
right.
and everyone wants it pretty much. Right. Or I wouldn't say everyone. I will say like the majority of motherfuckers want this. Like that have watched these two companies. These companies were intertwined before they even existed.
Right. Because most of the people that are the biggest stars in AEW at one point or another had some type of run in New Japan of significance. Whether it was Jericho doing Dominions in or doing big shows. He did more than he had that match with Evil at was that Destruction?
Power Struggle.
Yeah, like he had that. Like you look at Moxley and his run through that G1 2019. Like you look at the Young Bucks, you look at Kenny Omega. It's like you look at Hangman with the 2018 G1 run. Like that's there. Like it's inescapable. Like those dudes,
like it happened.
Like those dudes got over working in New Japan. Most people that watch AEW, I believe this way anyway. I feel like a lot of people that are AEW fans, people that watch some New Japan and gravitated towards the white boys, and then the white boys started to run their own thing, and they were like, "Oh, I'll watch both, or I'll watch this one with the white guys." So it's like, and I was like, "Oh, I like to see them wrestle some of the guys they've wrestled before, or wrestle new matches that's in New Japan, or whatever else." Either way, like them doing this is beneficial for both of them. Like one for like the value of the quote unquote people that are looking for star ratings and all that great matches or whatever else. Like having New Japan there helps have better matches in AEW. In sending people from New Japan to AEW or whatever else to have matches with AEW guys is going to help them as far as their Western expansion, regardless of how really into it they are at this point. But like, it can only help. So like, I don't really see like people that are against them just like, hey man, like I'm not miserable like y'all are. I'm sorry, just not.
Yeah. I don't pine for Yoshinobu Kanemaru to be in the top position. Like he'll be moved out the way. I really don't give a fuck, dog. Like
talking about the tag team juniors belts with Desperado.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're mid-level people. Like
Look, here's an idea. Leave Kanemaru's ass there. Bring Desperado on the jet. Bring him here.
I'm not saying that to say anything about Kanemaru. He's solid, veteran, been around, does his thing, whatever. But if people can't see everything that can go good with this, it outweighs everything that could potentially go wrong. Like, and when I start thinking about what goes wrong, it's
like
the thing that can go wrong. Like the only thing that even. Yeah, like, it's like, well, who's going to win in a lot of these cases? And I think is largely demonstrated by my match thing here, right? You can easily pick a winner in any of those situations if you do it correctly. The only time you're dealing with those type of situations is star versus star things. And typically they're going to do a series. So whoever wins, they're probably going to win in their country, unless it's like, they want to do a shock thing like, Kenny loses to somebody on AEW pay-per-view and then, he's going to Japan to try to do whatever to back. Like, that's... And what's not dope about that in that situation?
And also, it's like, y'all are... We don't even know what we're actually going to get yet. Everybody's way too far over their skis. We don't know what we're going to get. The only thing we know we're having is, like... Moxie's going to defend the IWGP US title... against KENTA, and KENTA is going to be on Dynamite on Wednesday in the main event tagging with Kenny Omega. That's all we really know so far. Like, we don't know the nuts and bolts. They might not even know the nuts and bolts. But like, but it is just the people that and Keep I haven't seen much, but like the people that are negative on is like, this isn't WWE where cynicism is necessarily earned yet. Like, if you're just not into AEW, then, like, okay, fine. Like, I mean, if that's your opinion, fine, but, like, so maybe that's the reason why you're not into it. But, like, if you're someone that likes New Japan or likes AEW or are ambivalent to either or, I don't see how this is anything but oh, this could potentially be cool. Like the people that are like that love New Japan and like hate this is like, okay, well, I just y'all just didn't like the Elite or don't like AEW and them taking some guys that New Japan helped, elevate and they left. Like, but then again, it's like y'all are identifying with the promotion. It's like that's kind of, don't do it to yourselves like this. Don't do it to yourselves like this. But yeah, that I guess kind of where I'm left. I was like, I don't see anything. There's not much of a downside to this unless they start doing goofy stuff with the booking, to me.
Right. And I think even at the lowest levels, like, as I mentioned earlier, like, it could be exciting. Like, so your young lions, like, what are we doing with those guys? Like, if this is a place where they can swap Dark Order members or Private Party, like, stuff like that, even that stuff is exciting on its face. Like, I don't know, man. There are just too many benefits, whether it's low stakes or high stakes.
Like the idea of sending people out on loan or excursion, like that's always been like intriguing. Like Casey Catanzaro and Kane Carter, like they're now getting on TV and they got a big win or whatever else a couple weeks ago, and it's like we talked about them. We seen them at house shows, like. They could have been somewhere doing something besides just doing Largo Loop stuff for a while. Like, they have the talent to go somewhere else, like rep.
Is QuickBooks slowing your business down? Do you have challenges managing inventory, project profitability, or just getting paid fast enough? Get your business to a better place and graduate to NetSuite today. Stop paying for multiple systems that don't give you the information you need when you need it. Ditch the spreadsheets and all the old software you've outgrown. Now is the time to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need, all in one place, instantaneously. Whether you're doing $1 million or hundreds of millions in revenue, save time and money with NetSuite.
Join the over 24,000 companies using NetSuite right now. Let NetSuite show you how they'll benefit your business with a free product tour at netsuite.com/play. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/play. netsuite.com/play.
Or somewhere, but like they're not allowed to do those sorts of things. I mean, the closest thing you really got was like Evolve before WWE bought Evolve. Like when you had Street Profits there. Like that's kind of the thing. There's so many talented people, and there's so many people tied up in contracts now. It's kind of like, all right, there's not enough time and availability in matches for people to go around to get better at this stuff. So it's like, what are we going to do? And like New Japan with, their young guys, they have that. With the Dark Crew, they have that. Like, where do people want to get matches that are young?
Yep. Like, fill up them strong tapings, fill up dark tapings. Like, this shit breaks the right way. Like, both of those tape shows could end up really hot properties if the right people start appearing on them.
Got a point.
And look, both of those shows, like, Dark's long had a reputation of like, oh man, I don't want to watch that shit. But like, Dark is actually like holds a lot of value. New Japan Strong, like, I think the presentation is a little dry. But, I mean, it's an empty building. It's going to be dry. And it's traditional New Japan wrestling. Like, but New Japan started to inject guys that we're all familiar with. Leo Rush has been on there. ELP's on there. Fred Rosser's on there. Carl Fredericks is hanging around. They've had various Bullet Club guys. So, Cobb, like, it's like, there's always potential to do something cool. It's just whether it's going to happen. And I think people should embrace the coolness, like, rather than, because you could just be watching, you could be watching the main roster of WWE. So I don't know. Like,
yeah. I think it's a pretty good, like, 3-week catch up of AEW.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay, so there's a lot of Dusty Cup stuff I have to go through off the top of my head. All right, there's women's Dusty Cup, there's men's Dusty Cup. So I'm going to start at the beginning. Thatcher and Ciampa had the Fight Pit match. Great match. Might be 4. I gave it 3 3/4. At the end of it, ultimately, after chopping and beating the shit out of each other, Thatcher caught Ciampa, caught his leg, his bad knee, the one he tore his ACL, caught his bad knee in a submission hold and caught him up in the cage, and Ciampa tapped out. So they're 1-1. Ciampa beat Thatcher in a regular rules match. I'm sorry, Ciampa beat Thatcher in a regular rules match, and Thatcher beat Ciampa in the fight pit. He's now 2-0 in the fight pit. So at the end of it, they pretty much did what now I'm thinking of the pattern of a lot of NXT tag teams are. They have a singles match, they beat the shit out of each other, they gain respect for each other, they become a tag team. So that's DIY, that's Oni and Lorcan, and I think there's another team I'm just blanking on. Is there another team you can think of from NXT that did that where they had a match, they beat the shit out of each other, and then became a tag team? Those two for sure.
I mean, Roderick Strong used to get into it with Undisputed Era.
No, that's different. That's an angle.
But they did a turn, so...
Yeah. But anyway, so they became a tag team.
Jordan and Gable, maybe? I don't know. Shit.
Maybe.
I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. So, but either way, they became a tag team, and they entered into the Dusty Cup. So also in Dusty Cup is Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, Grizzled Young Vets. Every time they bring out Grizzled Young Vets, they bring out Zach Gibson, they give him the house mic, and he, does his thing for 30 seconds, and it's just he's so unlikable. he's just so unlikable. And every time he is, he's like, "We are the grizzled young veterans." But yeah, they've had a couple good matches. Legado del Fantasma's is in there. Mendoza and Wild. You had Maverick and Dane. I'm doing off the top of my head, sorry. I'm trying to think. Oh, you also had MSK, the formerly known as the Rascals, in Impact. They made their debut. Trying to think who else was in there. But more or less, you end up, you also had Eichner and Bartel. Eichner and Bartel end up wrestling the Lucha House Party. Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado. That match was Raw. Eichner's so fucking good. He's so good. But anyway, Lucha House Party won that match, and that is playing off of Lucha House Party versus Legado del Fantasma. Grand Metalik wants a match with Fantasma. Fantasma is hiding by putting out Mendoza and Wild. So interesting. Yeah. There's so much going on through this tournament. There's also Gargano and Austin Theory were a tag team, and they were tagging against Kushida and Leon Ruff. Why? Because they both hate Johnny Gargano. That match was actually Raw. That was the opener of the show 2 weeks ago. So, so Gargano and I can't remember who won the match. Jesus Christ. Kushida won. Kushida ended up tapping out Gargano. So, I can't remember who's in the bracket. Basically, right now we're at the point where the Final Four, where we have Ciampa and Thatcher. They beat Adam Cole and Roderick.
Yep.
Last week's show. That match was great. And they're going to face Grizzled Young Veterans. I think that's one semifinal. I can't remember the other semifinal, but it's so much wrestling. So much wrestling. I can't remember the shots on my head anymore. But yeah, it's been a really good tournament. Ties through the lead up to other matches for Vengeance Day, their upcoming takeover that they pulled out of their ass. well, not really pull out their ass, but like their announcement made it feel like they pull out their ass because like we knew there was one coming in February-ish, and they didn't announce it until like last week.
They've got some matches on there I want to see.
So women. So they have a women's Dusty Cup this year. It was 4 teams, I believe. So it was Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez in the I Hate Io Shirai fan club taking on Lacey and Kaden. Lacey and Kaden end up getting the upset when Casey hit this fucking ridiculous move we talked about at the end of last week's show. So they advanced. Actually, it's 8 teams. So in the other half of that bracket, Raquel, they took out some people off somewhere, but ended up being Raquel and Dakota versus Kaden and Casey. All right, match. They fucked up a lot of stuff in the first half of it, but they kind of got back on track.
This shit was all over my timeline.
As far as them botching?
Or, mostly Casey Catanzaro, and then they tried to do like the silly string, and it was like, don't do that no more. Like,
like Dakota was late, Kaden was late. Oh, check this out, right? So, they fucked with the silly string, and Dakota just did the best she could. And there was later a shot where in the match where Casey hit that big move we've been talking about on Raquel. She hits it, and Dakota is supposed to. And Dakota's she landed on her feet, on her heels. So Dakota is supposed to break up the pin to protect the finish because it's spectacular, right? She misses her cue for some reason and can't break the pinfall in time. So you can see it's like, oh, she's fucked. Raquel luckily has the presence of mind to kick out at 2.9 or whatever else. And
that's like that Scott Hall. They be like, "Sham, I got to kick out of your finish, kid." Like,
I never heard of this before. That's funny as fuck. Because Scott Hall.
The story was this. It'd be like he would introduce himself to dudes by asking what their finish is, and it'd be like, great, can't wait to kick out of it, like shit like that.
I remember hearing the story how Scott Hall used to run to people. Like this must be a part of the same thing where he would walk up on people and meet them for the first time. You know, his reputation precedes him, and he would tell people to tuck your chin on my finish. I'm like, dude, back then, like that, those fighting words. It's like, what you mean? I'm not dropping to you. Especially with back at WCW, you'd be like, that's not in my paperwork. If I'm doing a job, you owe me like another $20,000, Bischoff. But yeah, like she luckily just, thinking, and kicked in time. So
you mentioned Mercedes and Tony, and they have the 3-way coming up with Io.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they're basically setting this Dusty thing up because obviously Raquel has been getting the monster push, and she essentially sent Rhea Ripley the fuck out of here?
Mm-hmm.
Or you think they're trying to give each of them like at least give Raquel another accolade here? Oh, you got rid of Rhea Ripley. Oh, you've won this tag tournament before they do the title match, and those two are just in that triple threat match out of nowhere, kind of like just to give Io another win and then get to Raquel and Io.
That's pretty much what I think this is. I mean, like, if the thing for me is if they want to do the match now, they could do it now. But I think the thing is like, call up season and all that stuff, right? Like, Rhea got called up, and there was nobody really to drop the belt off to yet. I think that Io's dropping the belt to Raquel by like June, like the June takeover. I don't think she even makes it to the SummerSlam takeover. I think that's when they do it, and whatever happens with Io's contract situation or whatever else, because that'll be about the 3-year anniversary, the 3-year mark of the contract. So, we'll see. But yeah, like you remember, like Raquel, she had that great match with Rhea where like she won the fight but lost the match, right? Right. Then she pinned Io after she powerbombed her through a ladder bridge at Women's War Games or whatever, and then pinned her. Then she beat and sent Rhea out the territory. That's good enough to be the number one contender right fucking there. You already pinned the champion.
Right now. Yeah.
So
that's why I was kind of. That's the only thing I thought of. Like I was like, well, why aren't they doing this now? Are they trying to just give her another accolade before?
I think that's all it is.
I think this is where Triple H got to be careful, like of not of trying to get too cute, thinking you always have it with the person until they don't, or whatever. So because I think she has it now to like. They could do the belt match at TakeOver and switch the title there because she's hot enough. After
that last woman standing match at New Year's Evil with Rhea, I gave that shit 4.5. Like I think it's like an 8.36 something on a cage match, whatever. I gave it 4.5. Right. I fucking love that match. It made me stand out of my chair. I remember I was like, there's no way that like I thought that Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns had no chance of topping that shit. I'm all in on whatever they're doing. Like she's the best push person they've had in NXT and God since Rhea probably. Like probably since Rhea. So Rhea chasing the belt against Shayna. So like
drop ya.
Yeah, right. So for me, like Io's had the belt since June. Yeah, June. So it's like, whatever. If it's time for her to come out the belt, it's time for the belt. I don't care. I think that this is a situation where it's like, it's weird because they brought in Ember and they brought in Tony on the same day, and
they're done with Ember.
She's in a tag team. She's in the tag tournament. She's probably that's who they're going to face. And like the other side of that bracket is Candice and Indy Hartwell versus Shotzi and Ember, and who the winner goes and faces Raquel and Dakota. So like Ember and Shotzi are going to face them in the final on TakeOver. I think it's called Vengeance Day or whatever else. Like they'll lose to Candice or not Candice. They'll lose to Raquel and Dakota, obviously, but.
Yeah.
Whatever. So my thing was like, all right, like you had these. Well, actually, I already did a match. They already did Toni Storm versus Ember. That match was really good. So whatever. That could have gone longer, sure. But I think the thing for me is like, if there were ever going to be a time where you take the WWE women's tag titles. And put them on NXT team. Like, I mean, they teased they were going to do it with Tegan and Dakota last year, but ultimately, like, Asuka and Kyrie didn't beat the shit out of them for like 15 minutes. But if Raquel is going to be on the main roster sooner or later, she's going to be pushed as some unstoppable force, similar to how she's being pushed right now on NXT. Like. If they were to do it with her right now, they could. I don't think they will. Obviously, she has the protection when like Dakota will take the pin whenever the next NXT the women come back down. Like Shayna and actually no, I don't want to see Shayna. I don't want to see Nia nowhere near Raquel. No, thank you. Go away. No,
yeah.
Don't bring that shit to full self. I retract everything I was just saying. No,
I would say I'm less bullish on Raquel's like main roster prospects just because I think you need lots of great workers around her, and the main roster just doesn't have that. Like once you get past, that top group.
But I think the thing for me is just like
I'd get her with Asuka immediately.
If you push her, you spend like the first 2-3 months just having to squash people. So in that way you're able to hide, whatever she lacks until it's time for her to, face a Mickie James or somebody. Like, I feel like you can have her kill people. I mean, obviously, we haven't really done a woman squashing people since like Nia, but like if they're ever going to do it again, it may as well be with her. Jesus. Yeah. So whatever match they do, that'll end up being good, I imagine, for TakeOver, Raquel and Dakota versus Ember and Shotzi. You know, oh my god, Dakota and Shotzi on TakeOver. Someone's finna die. But anyway, like with the with that tag match that had Tony and Mercedes losing, like basically they attacked EO on separate weeks. They end up teaming up together, and then EO ended up like taking out Mercedes during that Dusty Cup match, and then like Tony was dead to rights 2 versus 1. So like now all three of them are fighting each other basically, and there's a title match. Like number one contender that was well built. Nope. Like so you have a point by saying like why wasn't you have a clear point of like why was Raquel put into this spot right here? Absolutely. And I agree with you because I was like, all right, well, is that coming in like the next month or so? But yeah, that's what they ended up doing. So the
I was going to ask how far away.
But go ahead.
Oh, you can skip him. I was going to say how far are we? I was going to say how far are we away from talking about the dragon, James?
Oh, the dragon.
The dragon. The backstory of Tian Shaw.
Yeah. Okay, so as far as a origin story for explaining somebody having supernatural powers, I've heard way worse. Like the Demon King is way worse than this one. Like the story is from what I remember was once upon a time, long ago in Japan, in China, there was a dynasty of some man had a daughter, had a son, chose the unworthy son to be the heir to the throne. He ruled with an iron fist and brought dishonor to the family. The woman left in disgrace in I think it was also sadness and dishonor. She ran to some mystical forces, some dark force that said, like, I will give you what you want.
A dragon.
Yeah, it was a dragon. I will give you the power to get the throne that you have claim to. She turned evil. She gets the throne. And then she realized that she has become what she's hated by becoming a bird of her brother. And then I think I don't know if they explained that she went away or what, but now she's here in NXT. Look, man.
She's 1,000 years old.
They joked about that too. So,
bro,
here's the thing, right?
This is a step away from the Fiend.
I'll take this over the Fiend.
Got dragons.
I'll take the Fiend over this any day.
When does the dragon come to NXT?
Never.
Will the dragon be wearing a leather jacket?
Look, when will the dragon be? Never. You want to know how I know? They had Rey Mysterio Jr. hold a marble out in his hand and say it was his fucking eyeball. They do not have the CG or practical effects or to do that. So no, there will be no dragon. Right. So
a dragon exists in the backstory in canon of NXT now.
Sure, whatever. Look,
does it like Motorhead?
No.
Metallica.
Look, man, I don't really have much for that. All I will say is this: we've seen Finn Balor for takeovers dress up in the body paint, and the demon may or may not have been mystical, whatever else. So, like, I'm not gonna act like NXT has never done this before. Have they ever gone this far? Don't think so.
Dog, whatever. I saw this with no context, right? So,
well, you had the context. You had the context of like the triad shit they were doing before. When they were abducting people. But yeah,
right now I drop in and see this thing, and then I'm like, "There's a fucking dragon!" Like, I just get stuck. There's a fucking dragon, like, and then I'm thinking about the fireballs like that are being shot on Monday Night Raw, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like. Tian Shia, like, yo, like this is like Lucha Underground, like
it does give off some Lucha Underground vibes of like dark mystical forces or whatever else. Well done, but it's like this ain't Lucha Underground.
Yo, it's way the fuck out there.
Like this is, like it's funny because like later on in the show from Wednesday. after that segment, like Edge shows up and says that, like, that he had this good promo basically selling the Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne match, but by saying it, he said that, like, I got some of my passion to get back into. A lot of my passion came from watching you guys NXT scrap it out, right? And then he pointed out that, like, the brashness, the arrogance, like, I was you, Pete Dunne, at that time. I would have scoffed at the same shit some old timer was telling me. He didn't say old timer, but someone like me would have said to you right now, like, that advice or what things I'm saying, like, I would have scoffed at that too. And then he, basically his whole point was, like, he said, or the point I was trying to get to was, he said that, like, it's WWE, and we focus a lot on the E, but NXT has brought back the second W, and I was like, yeah, because there's nothing like wrestling like dragons and lore.
Yeah, the lore. That's what I was.
When he said, I was laughing.
Yes, the lore.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
what was I going to say about that? I'm just curious about, like, all right, is Xia Li the push act, or is it, like, the Tian Sha? Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, is this a tag team? Is this going to be Xia Li being the underling for this boss or whatever? Or is it, I don't know why I'm seriously analyzing this, but like, I'm just wondering who they wrestle at this point, because I
think they mop up the women's undercard.
Yeah.
I think and
then, like, doesn't, like, Raquel Gonzalez, like, laugh in their face? Like, what the fuck is this? Like,
I think
or did they never cross paths?
They never cross paths. There's no way they can cross paths. No. Unless you were going to turn Raquel babyface eventually, which...
Do you remember...
As awesome as she...
When we first started, like... Do you remember when we first started reading about, like the unreality of Alberto Del Rio's character back then during all that reality era shit, and then like you have to have him in with other goofy motherfuckers, because, like, when you put him in with, like, the real guys, quote unquote, it doesn't quite hit the same way.
It hurts both acts. It hurts both acts, because then you have to start taking the richness and the aristocratic stuff at face value, and then you also have to take, like, put someone like CM Punk, like, into the realm of the goofiness, and it ultimately, like, it doesn't serve either one of them justice in their own pocket. Like, that's the reason why the Fiend, like, hurts so many people, because he's mostly wrestling like real people. Like, obviously, like, there's so much stuff in Randy Orton's, like, history. There's, like, he pretty much anything is tough. Like, he's tough on this point. There's so much stuff, but it's like, put him in there with Seth when Seth has never really been on the goofy shit. Like, that hurt him very badly. That hurt Seth a lot at the end of 2018 or in 2019.
And I'm just wondering about the effects. Like, I pray to God they don't bring this shit near EO. Like, I would really hope they don't bring this shit near EO.
I see no reason to. I mean, maybe it's some who knows? Like, well, look, we'll see. Who knows what happens with her contract situation? But, like, if she were to be on the way out, beat her, right? But, if she's going to stay around and she's not going to the main roster, then I would keep Raquel. There are certain people I would keep away. Like, Ember could fall into that. I just, for me, is like, I feel like if you were to, I would just have her just feeding on the undercard of the women's division.
Others.
Like, I think, like, the line of delineation, like, hell, I don't even want to do Dakota like this. I don't even want to do Dakota like this. I need Dakota to come out here to protect, and I need her as this nice preserved condom
shield
for Raquel. Yes, no, condom. Let's be real. Like, we are protecting Raquel. We're like, everything else, don't leave that alone. Leave that alone. But, I mean, as far as it being presented is well done, but it's like, as you said, like, what happens when you have to apply it to this women's division that you set up with all this talent and all these matches and all these matchups? Like, yeah, I see exactly what you mean. It could hurt a lot of people. It could.
Like I feel like Caden and Casey, all of them about to look, it's still Xia Li still beating them up or them being.
We gotta remember, Caden and Casey were beating her before she got abducted and then trained or whatever else. So it's perfectly fine storytelling would be she comes back and she whoops their asses after this tournament's over.
Can she do it in a handicap match? Please.
I would be okay with seeing Xia Li kneeing and striking them in a handicap match. That would be very impressive. Look, Xia Li should not be losing no matches to nobody for months. That's how
the lore of the dragon
were done.
The lore of the dragon.
Look, what they do with Boa, I have no idea what they do with Boa. Maybe I have no idea. Boa's
he might as well be Kip Sabian.
He's just there.
Yeah,
he's just there. When they have, do we know if that's Karen Q for sure yet?
We don't, but I think all the signs are pointing at it.
I couldn't get a good look. You can see her now. You can actually see her face with the face paint. Before it was just mostly hair, almost like the girl from from the Ring horror movie. But I didn't think of it of looking at her face and be like, oh, that's Karen Q or not. It may be though. Let's see. Move on there. We talked about both Dusty Cups. Cross. Let's get to it. Santos/Phantasma had a cruiserweight title match against Kurt Stallion. Kurt Stallion in the past 2 weeks is basically his whole gimmick is he's doing a parody of Matthew McConaughey while he's high. That's guy from Texas talking about the moons and the stars and everything in between and talking in riddles almost. Anyway, he beat Kurt Stallion's ass. He took 90% of the damn match, 85% of the match. He ended up hitting him with the Phantom Driver, and then hitting him with the knee driver thing that he does. And then Cross comes out, and Cross basically clears the floor with Wild and Mendoza. Wild, by the way, would pair greatly with what's your boy's name? Yave.
Angelico.
He will pair greatly with Angelico. Yes, just peak the stuff they wear. They look so y'all are such shitheads. This man was wearing. He wrestled early in the show, so he kept his gear on. He's wearing long tights with kick pads, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was wearing a long sleeve football jersey that was mesh and see through, except for this bar across where the nipples would be. In a Scully, he's an asshole. Anyway, Cross comes out after he beats Kurt Stallion. He clears the floor with Mendoza and Wild. Gets to the ring and he starts threatening. I almost called him Mendoza. Santos, because Santos a couple weeks ago was I am the best champion in NXT. He's like, look what I've done. I've been champion for 200 and something days. You look at Gargano, he's basically calling him alluding to being a paper champion. The only people he's defended his belt against is Leon Ruff. He then says that Balor has a glass jaw, which made me laugh. He got his jaw broken in the match.
Got his shit broke.
This shit funny. He got a glass jaw, and then he threw shots at Cross. He's like, and me, I'm a real champion. I was able to defend my belt. I didn't just lose. I didn't just win it and couldn't hold on to it. So then Cross that was 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. Last week, Cross or Scarlett or somebody left a tarot card in his gear in Santos' gear, and then he was like, I don't give a fuck, whatever. Walked away. So then Cross showed up, got in his face, and then threatened him. And be honest with you, this was the best thing I've ever seen Cross do by threatening Santos. He sat face in the ring, and he was like, look, man, you don't want these problems. You basically get your back. Get your back straight or I'm gonna fuck you up. And then at the end of it, Santos is laughing at him or smirking I'm not scared of you. And then at the end he was he made his hand motion. He was like, run along. told that man to run along, and then all of a sudden Santos like stone face, and then that man had to run along because he fucked up. So, so I'm like, that's actually good. So then Edge came out. Pete Dunne and Balor went face to face. I basically gave you the gist of what Edge's promo was. He put over those two, saying they're gonna have a great match.
Edge took a beating business-wise this week. A beating.
Yeah. He did, but he had a
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I believe.
Yeah, this is like the product. I mean, the product and the promotion is like a drag. It's like when people talk about like I guess like Voice of Wrestling like gets on Thatcher. It's like, well, what has Thatcher done wrong? Like
I was gonna say his match. It was in the main event. I don't know what it was matched up against on that week. What was their main event this past week?
Yeah, it was up against the KENTA shit. Yeah,
smoked.
Yeah, but it's like, but my point is like, the same thing with Edge, right? Is like they're getting bad ratings or their ratings or whatever else, crater or losing comparison to whatever, right? But it's like, what about the quality of it? Like, the quality is not a question. It's the fact that shit just didn't draw people for whatever reason. Like, and I'm not saying that, like, I don't know what to make of that. Like, two things can be true. Like, the shit's not working from an eyeball standpoint, but the shit is working as far as, like, the stuff they do is good. Like, Edge had a good promo with to put over the Balor and Dunne match for the next takeover. So he goes to leave, like, later on in the show, right? He goes to leave. And then Cross runs up on Edge and was like, I think he said some lines like about him being the ultimate opportunity. This is Edge's catch or taglines. And then he said some lines like, don't let your, you have a new opportunity. And he's alluding to his neck. Like, you have a new opportunity, a new lease on life. It would be foolish to waste it. Like, I'll drop you on your head. So then, like, Edge gave this line, like, you know what? Like, I forgot what the line was, but he turned it and he was like, but he basically no soul, like, being scared of Cross. And then, like, he was like, look, man, you don't want me to come back here and challenge you or whatever. Because he's basically like, regardless of whoever, whether it's Dunne or it's Balor, ultimately, like, the roles lead back to me. Like, the belts come back to me eventually. So if you win this fucking belt, we're going to have a match. So you don't want to come back here. So he said, you're talking about the opportunity. Like, opportunity can also turn into something along the lines of, like, basically it's like, you don't want me to come back here. You don't want to piss me off because I'll come back here and I'll beat you, developmental guy. That's basically how it felt like that. Like, I'll come out here and I'll big league you. Not that, but like, I'll beat you in a match.
I mean,
so then he walked away from me and he was like, all right, later with all your goofy shit and your tarot cards. And I was like, wow, like, the first time I actually like Cross in months, and Edge is basically like, look at this fucking goof with the goofy shit and the mystical darkness and the intimidation. I'm not scared of you, man. Fuck out of here.
Like, maybe he forgot that Edge used to be a vampire.
Maybe.
I mean, Edge, he could fit right in that, the Tianxi world and the vampires. Like, I think I'd be a bit more interested if Edge came back as a vampire.
What is it with you and Edge and the vampire shit? Like, you've been bringing it back up for like the past like week or two now.
It's just the running gag at this point.
Now let's see. Oh, so also because Kushida tapped out Gargano in their Dusty Cup match, and he also pinned him at another time. Before then, he is a number one contender for the North American title. They had a brawl from Regal's office into the backstage area where like Kushida, like Gargano threw the first punch and Kushida whooped his ass. And that's pretty much gets you up to pace or gets you up to speed for NXT.
All right. Yeah. I think the dragon shit is just the funniest shit in the world. Like,
in a vacuum, it is, because it's like no BS, huh? No BS.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Cameron Grimes coming back next week too.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Didn't he got himself, he got some old tweets dug up on him. I did watch a match with Swerve and Bronson Reed.
That was
I want to say 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
That was very solid.
Yes,
and I was like,
for the amount of time it went, yeah.
I was like, well, could y'all do something with one of these gentlemen, please?
Okay, so guess what they did with Bronson Reed last week? Yeah, so as right before Edge was walking out, before Cross ran up on him.
Oh, didn't he like shake hands with him?
Edge gave Bronson Reed like a fist bump or some type of elaborate dap, and that was all we saw of Bronson Reed on TV.
Cool.
I don't know. By the way, Bronson Reed cut his hair. He has a mullet now. He doesn't look as good when he had like the mohawk thing going. Like the wet mohawk thing.
Have you seen the Twitter thread where it says everyone in WWE has the same haircut?
No.
I will send it to you right now.
I'm guessing everybody is everybody that is lighter than a brown paper bag with dark hair.
So check this out. I sent this to Swerve. Swerve said he technically qualifies for this too. We had a good laugh.
Basically, it's like the sides chopped.
Size chopped. Please check your Twitter DMs.
Everybody has a size chopped.
It's amazing.
Hey man, like people are into burst fades and all that now.
It's the look.
Where am I looking? You said
right.
Twitter
DMs. So the first one is a picture of Daniel Bryan. I'm going to
size cut. Daniel Bryan size cut. Pete Dunne size cut. Umberto size cut. Rhea size cut. Bronson Reed size cut. Your boy has a
Garza.
Garza's more of a high fade than size cut, but the size still cut nonetheless. Whatever. Andrade. Shinsuke has the full mohawk. Also, Buddy Murphy, Dragunov, Coffee. Which Coffee or both Coffees? Shouldn't they not be on TV? Right?
I think it's both.
Aleister Black has the frohawk has the mohawk going. I don't know what you called what Bray Wyatt has in his hair. It just looks bad. Miz, Braun Strowman's bald now, so that don't even count. Undertaker is different. Undertaker's deal isn't achieved by clippers. That's just old age.
His just growing from the back.
Right. Corey Graves had the same haircut ever since I saw him the first time. MSK, no, that's not fair because your boy from MSK, like that's more of a high top fade than a size chop.
Size cut.
Yeah.
Alexander Wolf,
Mastiff. Let's see. Trent Seven. Is it Trent Seven? Also.
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe so. And then someone. Yes.
So wait. So they also have Ruby Riott here. Ruby Riott, like I think she is a low cut now. I don't think the size. I think like everything's just low and even now. But at one point it was the mohawk or whatever. So yeah.
And then someone had a really funny. It said, "Let's just say everyone on NXT UK and save themselves the trouble."
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Like a lot of people keep going to these. I mean, imagine a lot of them have the same barbers too, and like whatever. I don't know. I mean, you can do the same thing in the 90s with people or 90s and 80s in wrestling with long hair, so just overall long hair, so and wet, so you can. That's the thing for guys now, I guess.
If anybody hasn't seen the thread, you can go to my Twitter. I retweeted it. You'll just have to find it and hope I don't go on a tweet spree that buries it.
Well, you pin
by
it
the time you hear this show.
No, all right, whatever.
We'll put it in the Discord. How about that?
Okay, yeah, that works. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for NXT.
Sounds good, man. Well, I guess there's only one other promotion to talk about. So, James, hit the music.
Okay, so Stardom. I actually had to go back to our show from a couple weeks ago to remember where the hell we last left off. Yeah, let's just pick up from the 10th anniversary show. So, I sent you 3 matches from that show to watch. One match I did not send you was Julia versus Natsuko in a no DQ match. Match was fucking horrendous. That is the worst white or red belt match I've ever seen. Natsuko took off the corner pad and then whipped her into the corner pad. Very much like Rich.
Yano.
Evil.
Or evil. Yeah.
Evil. Yeah. Julia had Micah pull out a like this wheelie a pulley that had like the karate tiles on it. Like you break wood blocks. There's also the tiles you can break. There was like dozens of rows of this stuff in the middle of the match. Keep in mind, this is a semi-main event, right? Lay out Natsuko, put the tiles on her back or on her stomach, and then break the tiles. The shit's fall everywhere. Like the ref has to kick the rubble like out of the ring while they're still trying to wrestle. There's a spot where like a bunch of different rows of the tile ends up like on the like concentrated together like four like rows of it, and like Julia body slams her onto the tile. That shit looks super painful. It's like, so you're gonna have a match that sucks and you're in a bunch of pain. That sounds like a double downer. There was like light blue dust that was thrown into Julia's eyes at one point. Sound
like all the bullshit.
Oedo Tai and DDM are fighting like at ringside out on the floor. This match fucking sucked. It's like, yo, I never want to see Natsuko get a white belt or red belt match ever again. Like, there's no point. Like, she's not gonna win in the match. Like, they gave them no DQ and it still sucked. Like, if they were going to have a regular rules match, I imagine it would have been better than this. But they decided to do this, and they indulged both of them, and it stunk. Moving on. Red belt match, main event. Utami versus Micah. Very, very good match. It started slow, and it until they started brawling, it didn't pick up because, like, both of them are kind of shy and not like, and both of them like only have fire when they're brawling or at the end of matches. So like, it took a while to get going, but once it got going, it was really good. I ended up going 3 3/4 on it. Yeah, just those two. I feel like their Cinderella match that had the 10-minute time limit that they went to the drawing was better than this, but for what it was still a very good match. So ultimately, she lays out Utami a few times, hits her finish. Utami kicks. Utami goes for her normal finisher, the rack bomb. Micah kicks. Utami ends up getting her up and hits the black tiger bomb for the win. After the match, Kamatani comes out and says that she wants to challenge for the red belt at the Budokan show. I can't fucking believe that they're going to let her challenge for the red belt at Budokan. I don't think she's ready. And they have done nothing to lead you to believe that she could challenge for a red belt right now in early 2021. Like, maybe the summer, maybe later, but like, she won 17 matches last year in 56 matches. She won 17 times.
Is this a case of them trying to get someone a red belt shot early in their career to eventually come back to? Because if I have it correct, didn't Utami kind of receive a red belt match early in her career?
I Okay, so Utami debuted in the summer of August 18. I actually know the date because it's actually Kagetsu's anniversary date too. And it was also on the same day as that Korakuen Hall. So basically her 1 year anniversary, August 2019, she got her first red belt shot against B. And B beat her, right? Was that June or was that July? It doesn't matter. Summer of 2019, basically either 11 to 13 months after her debut, she got a red belt match versus B. B beat her. It was like 3 3/4. So then her second time she ever challenged for the belt, she won the belt against Mayu in November of last year. So the thing is, Utami's push and Kamatani's push are totally different things. Like, Utami was pushed beginning and was called the Super Rookie. Her first match, she goes to a draw with Jungle. She ends up going, and that's literally right before the Grand Prix. She ends up going to the final of the Grand Prix where she loses to Mayu. She wins the tag tournament with Momo. She wins the tag belts. She wins the the Futures belt off of, Starlight Kid at the beginning of 2019 when I first started watching Stardom. She at the anniversary show that year, the 8th anniversary show, the January Korakuen of that year, she beats Piper Niven for the Pro Wrestling Eve International belt and also the SWA belt. So that's when she has the 4 belts, right? When you first met her, you're like, how the fuck this person has all these belts? So goes to New York, has the white belt match with Momo, was the point leader in the Grand Prix in 2019. She broke her hand again. All that built towards that. She won the Grand Prix the very next year, right? Wins the belt a couple months later. That was her. She was pushed for 2 years as she's the future, and then the future came and she's here now, right? Kamatani, on the other hand, is I think that she can be great eventually.
I was going to say, because you got to remember, I don't know if companies always remember how they build someone as opposed to somebody else they want to build.
But you have to do it different. You can't do it all the same.
Right.
But I would argue that the way that they have, quote unquote, they have presented her for this past year or 13 months, whatever you want to say, there is no justification for this other than raw potential. And I mean the raw potential of...
Yeah. And they had a match a year ago at this time, right? For the SWA title, right?
February of last year.
And then Utami essentially gave up the belt or whatever after. So maybe it's how far they've both come since then.
Right. But the thing is, how far they've come is, you won 17 matches in that year that you were with me. The 17 matches, matches where I won all the fucking matches. Because we were a tag team. We won the tag titles. And, the tag defenses were, matches that I won. You didn't win any of them. And when we lost the belts, you got fucking pinned in the year-end climax. And then all of a sudden, once the new year starts, once that they beginning of the year, they always have those shit ton of shows that first week of the year. She lost that match and then she hasn't lost since, right? So basically, January 2nd, January 3rd, January 4th, January 9th, January 11th or 12th, and then January 17th, she challenged for the title. So he's okay, so she won 7 matches in a row or 6 matches in a row, and on the undercard or in tags, didn't actually put nobody away that's worth a damn, and then we're supposed to just forget that she was a loser for a whole entire year. It's that's at least wait. If they had announced this match in. Okay, so the next set of Korakuen Halls are January or the 13th and 14th of in a couple weeks, right? If she had stayed just winning matches and be all right, well, she's been on a 2-month winning streak, then it's okay, it is a new person or whatever else. But it's nah, you call your shot when you was I still smell loser on you, bro. What? And then just from that perspective, a presentation is like, Utami's not going to lose the fucking title in 3 months or 4 months after winning it, right? But it's like, she ain't got a chance. Like, there's nobody's under any illusions of what this is other than like Utami's going to wrestle her little homie and beat her, and then like go off and then walk off and carry it, into the next show. Like, I think like I feel like whenever this match comes up, like the success of this match would be like, can you buy like the Phoenix Splash she does? That's it.
She does the Phoenix Splash, and then like Nanae Takahashi and Yoshiko run in and drop Utami on her fucking head, and then like Lil Saya forms a unit. Look, Lil Saya Saya forms a unit, and Kawatani is the champion now. And then she got these fucking goons, and she's young.
Kamatani goon. Oh my god.
Yeah. And she got the old vets that say we've been waiting for somebody that comes along that lines up with how we want to do stuff.
I can tell you right now, the way Saya Kamatani wrestles and how Yoshiko and Nanae wrestle are not aligned with how they want to professional wrestling. Like Saya's good at getting her ass whooped. That's cool, but like selling and she takes big bumps and all that stuff, and she'll take a beating in a match. But like as far as her work herself, nah. Like there's a lot left to be desired. Like they would want her to do some more runs in the dojo. But yeah, like so for me that's a hang up or whatever else. But it's like you're gonna get Yoshiko versus Mai on that card. You're gonna get Momo versus Nanae. You mentioned the white belt match. Okay, so after Julia vanquished Natsuko, she said that like, I want to do another match before Budokan. She doesn't know who yet, but it came up actually at the January 30th show, where Starlight Kid challenged Julia. So they're going to have a match at those February Corcoran Hall shows on Valentine's Day weekend. Match should be very good. So there's that, and then they have tipped their hand pretty early. If Julia is to retain her title versus Starlight Kid, she will then go to Julia will then go to Budokan Hall and presumably fight Tam again. Richie told me. Basically, it's also set up by Julia beating the shit out of Unagi in a tag match on the 30th, which made Tam lose her mind and set up one of the match. And she said, "You'll take whatever stipulations you want, you can have it." And she mentioned an exploding. She mentioned a death match, literally a death match, like which goes on with your gimmick lately, Rich. So, you told me that you already know the stipulation for this match, and you told me that it is a hair versus hair match.
The hair versus hair championship match. So, yeah, man.
Now,
so Tam about to show up looking like Nanae Takahashi or DMX or Stone Cold Steve Austin or Kobe Bryant in 1997 or,
Yeah, maybe. I think Tam is winning this.
James being duped again.
Look, man, I am not the person that is presenting them, but the person that's presenting them has kept repeatedly saying that, like, she is in that class. She's been showing and proving. Well, not showing and proving, like, as far as she's already has skills as far as in the ring and being over or whatever else. But, like, quite frankly, if you have somebody that moves merch like Tam, has matches like Tam, is over like Tam, does as much stuff with the company as Tam, and they, like, it's just a gross mismanagement of whatever. Like, this is besides my part where she's my second favorite wrestler in the company. Like, she keeps having the best feuds with your Golden Girls every single time. She's more over than your Golden Girls every single time.
Oh, this sounds like...
At some point... and there's also the component where, like, she sells as much merch as, like, anybody else in the company. It's not like some Daniel Bryan thing was like, well, what about, he's not as over as John Cena, where it was like, nah, she's as over as like Mayu or Starlight Kid, or like, those are top 3 people moving merch in that company. Tam, Starlight Kid, and Mayu. So it's like, all right, well, her feud with Julia is 2-1. Like, it would make sense to tie it up here. Now, this is before my mind, before you start talking about the hair thing. And for me, it's just like, I wouldn't be cutting either one of the hair, but if you were asking me who was more likely to cut their hair bald for the sake of cutting their hair bald for a feud, it'd be Julia. She's crazy. And her hair's already short anyway.
I don't know, man. I think Julia's got, like, the striking look for, and this isn't to say, like...
Well, my thing is like, either way, cutting either one of their hair is fucking stupid. Can we agree on that? Like, oh, Cham's champion, great. Why the fuck would you cut Julia's hair? Oh, Julia's still the champion. Like, okay, whatever. Why the fuck would you cut Tam's hair? Like, both of them sell their merchandise on the fact that they're attractive women. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, I understand, like, that's the point of it, is like, that's the stakes involved of it, and, that goes back to, Manami and Toshio Yamada's feud from hair match from '92 over a belt, but it was odd because it's odd, but interesting because, like, that also was All Japan Women's white belt as well. But whatever. Once he told me, I thought it was gonna be a death match. Once he told me his hair was, I was like, okay, this is some real stakes were involved in this.
There was a hair match, so yeah.
Like,
someone's pride will be on the line.
Whoever loses this, it's like they just going down for like 4 months, 6 months.
Look, I don't know. I don't know if our Japanese brothers might take too kindly to the haircuts.
Look, man. I've seen 2 Joshi hair matches, right? The first one was the one that everyone talks about with Manami Toyota, and like you get it. Like, you don't need none of the stakes. You don't need to know that they were once tag team partners. None of that. You just see that, like, she wins the match, and she is literally trying to fight the barber from cutting her former tag partner's hair, or whoever's hair. That much respect is like, we can't. I won't want you to go through this, and just says there, like, you see the drama there. The one with Arisa, and the one with Arisa Nakajima and the Nai from the end of 2019, like, you just get it. It's like, Arisa fought for years and years and years, multiple promotions, tried to beat Nanae Takahashi and never could do it, and this is with like the biggest stakes of all, she came through and beat her, and then ultimately she toppled her competition, and she felt like, I finally did this, and I don't really want to do this to this woman. Like, so either way, it's gonna be super emotional for whoever gets their domes. It's gonna go bald if you look like James Boyd. But so
I see you over there growing. I don't know. My pixels is right. I feel like I see a fresh line,
bro. No, it's not a fresh line. It's not a fresh line.
Coming back,
not a fresh line. It's not a fresh line.
Regrowth.
You gotta remember, my hairline is not the problem with me. I have the moonroof situation.
The KD. The KD variety.
Yeah, the line will show up perfectly fine. It's just a situation where, and also it's quarantines are like, I don't feel like shaving this shit right now. But
anyway. I am once again on that note considering regrowing my hair back again.
But yeah,
hairline strong.
Yeah, my hairline is strong too. That's not the problem. It's the back.
So they run up on you from behind. Yes. Damn, they won't even come to your face.
Hey! Don't ever talk about people running up on me from behind. Don't you ever say that again. What's wrong with you? So, yeah. So you have that. Also, because you talked about this before. You were mentioning, I think, at the year-end review, you were talking about, like, the elevation of Starlight Kid and Ozumi, as far as, it's time to start getting them in these, the white and red belt picture or whatever else. Like, obviously neither of them going to win it no time soon, but it's, if you got to scrape the plate for fucking Natsuko Tora, you need to pull the trigger on those two. So, Starlight Kid, getting a title shot white belt. So after Shuri's match, and I think we'll get to it, but Shuri is up challenging.
Can you imagine one day the Azumi Starlight Kid red belt title match in like 2024? Like,
dude, you know what I have in my mind?
What?
But this crazy because like this is before the hair match got brought up, right?
Mask versus hair.
They have to have a match with Starlight Kid's mask on the line at some point. They have to. They have to.
Oh, yes.
Between those two over a belt. A red belt, white belt, doesn't matter. But one of those two belts, those two for Starlight Kid's mask. And, you know, if you want to make Azumi the champion first and say, I'll put my belt on the line. If you lose, you got to demask. Like, it's got to be something like that eventually. They have to have a match with her mask on the line. Have to.
Yep.
Yeah. But
that'd
yeah.
be great.
Right. Look.
Great drama.
Right.
Great drama.
Right. So, never mind. Azumi versus Shuri will be coming up soon. They mentioned
that should be great.
I mean, their high speed. Their match at the Grand Prix was really good in the amount of time they got. That was actually the day after the Momo match got canceled because, you know, Shuri's mom passed away that day. So, like, she basically took one day off and then showed up the next day and then put over Azumi. That was cool. But she mentioned that. She's like, you beat me in the Grand Prix. I want my rematch. And, you know, they mentioned, like, they want to have a better match than Starlight Kid in Julia, which I'm sure they will. So, anyway, getting back to the anniversary show. Speaking of Azumi, she had a high-speed title defense against Yoneyama, Def Yama-san, Gokigen Def, all same person. Sometimes she wears clown paint, sometimes she doesn't. When she doesn't wear clown paint, she's herself, Kyori Yoneyama. What do you think of this match? You say you saw this one, right?
Yeah, I thought this was pretty good, actually. Azumi just pulls out stuff that is very unique to her. You don't see other people doing. Every time you watch her, she just gets better and better. I thought Death Yama-san, like, she's a high-speed master. You don't ever see it coming because you just look at her frame or body type, and then it just shocks you, like, how, like, smooth and proficient she is as far as getting in and out of moves, rolling, and, like, just always being in the right spot. I imagine wrestlers love wrestling her.
When she wants to wrestle, not do goofy shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I gave this like 3 3/4.
That's what I gave it to. And keep in mind, it's like a 6-minute match or a 5-minute match.
Yeah, and it's lightning fast.
So for those that are wondering, like, well, that's not that impressive. It's this fucking 6-minute match.
So, yeah, Azumi won't lose. Like, and I mean that like in an Azumi don't miss Wardlow type way.
Right. Yeah. So, like, it was like the bumping in that match. Like, you know, Yoneyama, she hasn't actually been herself in Stardom since like TCS started. So that's like, you know, like the spring of 2019. She shows up. And she's her old self with spinning the towel around and shit. And match starts.
North Carolina!
Match starts. She ends up ducking some of Azumi's like quick stuff. Ends up getting Azumi out the ring and hits like the Daniel Bryan like flying knee off the apron that just staggers the shit out of Azumi. Then there's another spot where like she gives her the Bumae knee like she's fucking Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah, man, it match was a blast, as you mentioned. Like, you know, Azumi also did some of the stuff she's been doing in the last couple months that I think you just hadn't seen yet, like the you know, catch somebody in between the top middle rope while their feet are in the apron and they're facing into the ring and like hit a running Hurricane Rana that spikes them into the ring. She also hit the you know, that move we were talking about where like someone comes charging, gets a boot up, she grabs your arm and then like she basically like wraps one leg, ties up one arm with your leg and it basically jumps off spinning and it's almost like a connected like atomic leg drop thing off the middle rope. Like, it's fucking wild. Like, you know, all the stuff she does with Rings of Saturn now, like, it was one thing when she was just like a great high-speed wrestler, and now like she's added all this technical submission elements to her stuff that was kind of already there, but it's like now it's like she's tying it together to get the arm submission in the Rings of Saturn. It's like this. She's fucking 18, bro. Like, she's so fucking good. She's so fucking good. Like, she's gonna be so, like, if she gets to 25, bro, like, it's a wrap. Like, it's a wrap. Yeah, so, let's see. We already talked about the Micah match. We talked about, also on the, undercard of the anniversary show was, Tam versus Starlight Kid. This match was built off of the Stars versus Cosmic Angels, possibly leaving Stars match, where it was an elimination match for the trios titles. And during the match, Starlight Kid knocked out Tam by giving her her finish, her own finish, the Tiger Suplex. So at first I was like, why the fuck did they do that? Why did they have Starlight Kid pin her? And then it turns out it's like, well, we're giving Starlight Kid that same finish, and now we have nicknamed Starlight Kid Stardom's Flying Tiger. So yes, it makes sense that she has, she wears the fucking tiger mask anyway. Let her have a tiger suplex. So they have the match. Tam just mollywops her for most of it until eventually she comes up she hits a run. Like, actually there's a spot where like Tam hits her with like 3 power slams in a row, or body slams in a row, like super hard. Like she was trying to like a shoot. Like shoot body slams. So slaps on a single leg crab. So they end up getting Tam or Starlight Kid outside the ring. Tam goes to go get her by sticking her head through the top and middle rope. Don't do that. Don't do that. Starlight Kid grabs her and immediately drops her with like a, like people's head motion goes for a heat seeker.
Mm-hmm.
Basically like that on the apron with a DDT. It's fucking gruesome. So then Starlight Kid gets to the ring, jumps off the top rope onto Tam. She ends up actually going for like some type of tilt-a-roll spot where she ends up like getting back to her feet, and he ends up on Tam's back, ends up hitting her with a tiger suplex. Tam kicks, match continues. They form each other back and forth. Tam gets the better of it. Kid mounts another comeback. Tam cuts her off after she goes for another dragon suplex, gets out of it, hits her with the black mass roundhouse kick, then picks her up, drops her with the tiger suplex. I gave it 3 3/4. It's like 10 minutes or 11 minutes. Really good match. Those two, like, for a short amount of time, like, it's one of those situations like I don't like that they hate each other now, but like, okay, whatever. Like, they're good at fighting each other. So that's actually their best match. They've had 2 before, and they weren't as good as this one. So that's all for the anniversary show. Not as good as last year's anniversary show, but because that was one of the better shows in 2020 in wrestling. But this was still a good Cork and All show, minus the Nasco shit. That's Jesus Christ. So fast forward through that because there's a few other things that happened. They had Osaka shows, 2 shows on the same day. The night show had a Tam and Mayu special singles match. Did you watch this match, Rich?
Which one? Tam versus Mayu?
Tam and Mayu, yeah.
I did watch it. It went to a draw.
Yeah.
Very heated.
Yes.
Crowd super into it.
Yes.
We're going to talk about another match. I thought the crowd was way more into this than it was into that one.
Yeah.
But
I know you.
That I didn't like the draw, but I'm between like 3 3/4 and 4 on it. Probably 4. I think that I really like the way Mayu was just like on some bullshit. It was like, hey man, you want to fucking do it? Like we can just fucking do it. Like it didn't. I thought Tam had great fire in this match. She had, no back down. Like she's trying to step out the shadow, establish herself as like, a faction leader, and we've been, waiting for the smoke. And I'm sure they're going to do another match, and I'm sure it'll be even better. Yeah, I think this is their second best match. I think their Grand Prix match from this year in the last night of the Grand Prix was better because it actually had a finish in it, but that might be the only reason why I like it more. But this definitely has juice in it because people are like, they are not done. Very invested in this. I can tell. Yeah, they're definitely not done. When they're both on the ground, like the one thing is like, Tam seemingly had the match won, and then Mayu, sneaky ass Mayu, got behind your back, crucifix bomb. and then like it was like some of the best timing for a draw ever. Like Tam kicked it like 2.9, and as she kicked it, or let's say 2.8, as she kicked it 2.8, at 2.9, the end of the match bell came, the 15-minute mark came on, and that was when it was like draw is over. It's like she kicked, and then like literally in the split second right after she kicked, like the match was over. And so like Mayu's trying to like, almost like a fish flopping in water trying to scramble to get back to her, even though like the match has been stopped. And then like she reaches out to Mayu. I start hearing that draw music, and I'm like, they got me again. But this is but this was better than the one with from the fourth with Momo and Shuri, though, in my opinion. Yeah, that one was infuriating. I was like, what the fuck? Like, because like I'll watch it, and sometimes I'll look at like the length of the video. Other times I won't, or whatever. But one thing I'll give them props to is now I guess it started recent development, last couple months, is all the matches get uploaded, like individual matches, and then they give you the full show video. I just click on full show and let that thing ride. I ain't gotta worry about clicking down and realizing how long this match is or is gonna go, and then it fucks my expectations. I just press play on that shit and just let it, and then like hide the tracker at the bottom and just let it play. Like it's so much more enjoyable than like it's a red belt match main event. It's going like there's 35 minutes on this video. Okay, there's gonna be like 18-minute match with a post match people talking in the end. Like so it's easy for like when you watch enough Stardom. This is some super nerdy thing. Where, like you see the individual matches and you see how long the video is. You know how long the match is going, just about. So I don't have that problem anymore. But man, they just have great chemistry together. Like, Tam has great chemistry with pretty much anybody, but she has great chemistry with Mayu. And like, I guess because Tam's so crazy, Mayu's able to go out here and like wrestle someone like she used to wrestle like a Io or a Kyrie, who's like, you'll let me just beat the fuck out of you? Okay, cool. And you'll just return it back to me? Cool. Like the kicks, like there was one kick where like Tam was on a knee and then Mayu just like let loose. It just fucking took the goddamn block off. The shit was awesome. Tam like hit her with like 4 straight like rolling German suplexes. Like that was crazy. It was just great. Yeah, you feel like it's gonna be 1, then it's like okay, 2, 3, 4. Oh shit! Like they have just great chemistry together. So at the end, Tam basically was like, I'm not done. I want another match. Like, we have to do this again. We have to have a decisive winner in this. And, like, I think the career record, like, this is the first time ever having a match that wasn't, like, tied to a tournament. Like, every time they've ever wrestled, it was like the Cinderella tournament or the Grand Prix. This is the first time where it's like, we set this up for y'all to go out there and beat the shit out of each other. And they went out there and accomplished that feat. So if you had to book this for a future big show, like, where would you put it? Well, that's the thing, right? Like, you look at Budokan, you're like, all right, Mayu's with Yoshiko. And like Tam's with Julia. Julia's been the champion since June. Yeah, the end of June. And if I were to pick someone to
take the belt off of Utami in the future, it would have been Shuri, but it's probably going to be Julia. So, like, I really ultimately see this as, like, Tam ends up beating Julia then eventually, like, at the year, let's say, like, the year-end show or the beginning of the anniversary show of 2022, like, beats Utami for the belt, for the red belt, because red belt champion. But, like, ultimately, you look at it as Tam wins the belt. That is the best story in the company going. Is like she's been chasing after this belt. Like, I think this will be her fifth challenge for it. She's been going.
She related to Goto at all, or? You know,
so
we had to ban Tam for challenging. Like,
that would be a good stipulation. That would be a good stipulation. Well, actually, no, because it would be dead giveaway that she would win it. And that, so anyway, at least this stipulation is like, I still don't. It's not telegraphing who's going to win yet. Even though I still think Tam is going to win. But anyway, so like they have this thing with like the red or with both belts, the red and white belt, where like new champion, they tend to go against somebody they're like in their first defense after they either go against a faction mate or they go against somebody that was like a career rival. Like, so Arisa, for example, Arisa beat Momo for the belt. Her first match is against Tam, right? Utami beats Mayu for the belt. Next first title defense against Momo. So like, I'm not saying that the next big match you do Mayu versus Tam for the white belt or whatever else, but like, I think that's a match that's definitely on the table for to close a big show. It's a like, I don't think they have.
I was going to ask, like, do you think it's maybe like a Cinderella final or a end of the year main event? That's kind of what I was thinking.
I think they're both too big at this point to win the Cinderella. Like, you know, they always like Mayu won the Cinderella both years, the first 2 years, and then like she's always been some goofy shit of how she's lost after. Like either actually 2019 she wasn't in it. Last year she had to draw with Hannah, right? Tam at this point is like she doesn't need to win the Cinderella tournament. She just asked for a fucking title shot. Like the Cinderella tournament is like, quite frankly, like, you know, Kamatani would have been a good candidate to win the Cinderella tournament this year. Like, you're somebody. It's almost like,
I mean, she already a main eventer now, James. Fuck you mean? Like,
that's my point. I agree with that. I think you can look at Cinderella tournament almost like Money in the Bank. Like, basically someone that hasn't broken through and been a champion yet, like, or whether it's a mid card or upper mid card or someone that you're grooming for the future, you have them win this tournament and then like give them the title shot. Like Arisa won it when it was like, all right, she wasn't like, they protected her, but like she wasn't over like that. Julia, I think Julia kind of strays from the conventional wisdom of what they've done to the Cinderella tournament, because it's kind of like, well, it was kind of like, well, we got to give her something to just go ahead and just do this thing. Like, like whether it was Arisa staying with the company or not, they were gonna get that belt to Julia. So they're like, sure, why not? But anyway, yeah, I think that match is definitely gonna be one of the biggest matches of the year in the future. Those two I won't say selling the score, were like coming to a. Now they're both faction leaders. Like, what's it gonna be like? And I think that could, you know. You look at, like, what Mayu's doing is, like, there's really, she's kind of, I don't want to say hanging around, but it's kind of like, she was the ace, or she is the ace, she doesn't have the belt, so you have to find something for them to do to keep them between, you know, belts at this point in time. Like, the Yoshiko thing is something, but it's like, that only is happening for this one match. Like, there is no real interaction between both of their shows, except for the one time where, or the two times where, like, Yoshiko showed up on Stardom, and then a couple weeks ago, Mayu showed up on Ceiling. Like, that's really it. Like, there are no real matches where, like, Mayu's in Ceiling or whatever else. Like, she's kind of just tagging with Starlight Kid and Ida, and that's kind of it right now. Like, for the time being. So, yeah, so that match is the one, so next match we were supposed to talk about was, the January 30th match for the SWA belt, Shuri versus Momo.
Yeah.
I love this match. They beat the shit out of each other. Just kicks galore, fire, yelling, screaming, forearms, just suplexes. Yeah. They're so good together. They really are.
I think I'm stuck between 4 and 4 1/4 on this, and like I thought the crowd might have been into it more, but it didn't seem like they were. But I was into it. This is a wrestling fans wrestling match.
This is the thing with that crowd. It's very similar to their Sendai show, where it's like it's the crowd, it's not the match. It's like that particular crowd is just quiet. And like, 'cause, I mean, I watched that whole show, and like that was a pretty big show. Like they treated that show like something close to approaching a Kurikan Hall. Like there were 6 or 7 matches on that card, and like 3 or 4 of them were really good. That wasn't like a Shinkiba first ring show. Like they treated it like a special show. And it was in a nice venue. Like it was like, you know, they brought out the curtain and all that shit. Like that was a big show for them. So that was just the crowd. You know, I don't know why they weren't into clapping the way they are, but you know, different areas, you know, whatever. But I was into it the whole time.
Lots of super like kicks, not super kicks, but super like kick exchanges, super physicality, shock finish. At least it came out of like, you know,
it shocked me too.
Yeah, it was like, oh wow, like yeah, she's fucking done. Like she's not getting. Oh, she's done. She quit for real. Yeah. Like,
right. It is because like when Shuri beat B for the SWA belt, she slapped on a totally different submission. That was like when she slapped that shit on B. I had never seen this fucking move before, and I was like, oh, she's done. And then like. In this match, she pulls out a totally different submission that I had never seen before. I was like, oh, Momo's done. Like, I guess Shuri just got like a bag of these just to pull out at any different point. But like, she slaps one of these 2 moves on you or the other 5 she got in her back pocket, you're dead to fucking rice.
I was very pleased. I wanted to see this match for a long time. Delivered.
Yeah.
I wanted... You know, it was really great. I wanted them to have a match in the year, Canada. I don't think they did. Hopefully they have another match eventually. But like I said, it's a wrestling fans wrestling match. If you like motherfuckers hitting hard and, you know,
being
running it,
showing emotion, showing fire, like, and doing everything well. Like, this wasn't like the super intricate, like Will Ospreay, Shingo Takagi stuff of like sequence of action. This was like base to base wrestling. Like this is very similar. Like if you were a person that loved, let's say like early 2000s New Japan, or sorry, early 2010s New Japan, or if you're someone that loved like the John Cena versus AJ Styles matches. This is a match, like, as far as the sequencing and pacing is right up your alley. It's big move, kick out, big move, kick out, big move, block, counter, another big move, kick out. Like, this had
I think there's an element to that. I think also, like Frankie Kazarian would love this match. Like, Roger Strong would love this match.
Yeah.
Like, that. That's what, like, well,
this was definitely a can't go back. I never thought of look, because so much of Top Joe, she is can't go back ass wrestling, but yes, definitely a can't go back match.
So like, that's what I thought.
They emptied the gun.
Yeah,
they emptied the gun. Yeah, and that's why I like so many of. That's why I like Shuri so much. Like, so any match that gets time with her, you feel like her and her opponent's exhaustion. It don't matter if it's a 10-minute match. It doesn't matter if it's a 15-minute match. It doesn't matter if it goes to a 30-minute draw. In all them circumstances, you felt like you were given the Irish treatment. You got her all that night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, that pretty much is the catch up of the last basically the last 3 weeks of Stardom. They had shows this weekend. I think only 2 matches are up, but we'll get to them next week. Actually, they're actually in the middle of like a 5 shows in, I think it's a 9-day stretch. So rest up and recover. Ice up.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Well, actually, like that's like a G1 schedule. Almost like five shows. And like, actually, that's more. There's more, but whatever. It's not as crazy because there's not many singles matches. But yeah, this. Whew, we'll see how that goes with like that. Let's see that third show and that fourth show. Let's see how that goes. Because like I remember November, like they had a stretch where they had like a bunch of shows, and it's just like that similar to like that like that second out of a back to back, or like that third game in 4 nights where you're just like, yeah, they're wrestling kind of like normal instead of trying to murder each other. I bet somebody's sore. I bet they're really sore.
That game 4, like, oh man, we done ran, a couple of like, we ain't at the end, so we got to fire up, but we ain't at the beginning no more either. We a little ran down. Yeah. Let's make some trades here. Like, let's make an agreement.
Yeah.
So James, so next week, so we were originally going to do it this week, but we decided to push it back. Last year we did a segment. It was 10 of our favorite lies in rap history.
Yes.
We will be coming back with another version of that. It was the 1-year anniversary of this week last year on the show.
Yes.
I listened to the segment today. It's fucking hilarious. We're going to dig for 10 more lies, 5 each, that we'll come back with next week.
Yeah. That'll be fun. That'll definitely be fun. But that's in the show. Be sure to rate us on our app you're using to listen to this with. Tell the folks about the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Also,
join the Discord.
Yes, join the Discord. And go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex and pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise and listen to the other shows on the network. Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky Clive Wrestling Podcast, Grown Watch This Shit, the Great Consequences Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex, Great Match Generator, and All Things Elite. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
Zenni offers prescription glasses starting at $6.95, as well as affordable sunglasses, blue blockers, and more. The best part? Try any frame, anywhere, with our 3D virtual try-on. Visit Zenni.com today and change the way you buy glasses forever.
Hey, this is TV personality Eric Bowling with
NFL Hall of Famer Brett Favre.
Get out. The NFL Hall of Famer Brett Favre?
Yeah, it depends on if you want money or not, or if I owe you.
Well, okay, I'll take it. We're coming together for a new weekly podcast called Bowling with Favre. From sports to politics to finance, culture, nothing is off limits.
Sounds like a little bit of everything. Subscribe now on the Podcast One app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, LiveByLive.com, and everywhere you get your favorite podcast.
See you then.